If you've ever sat back on the couch and watched 28 hours of snow while the Chicago Bears are in first place, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We got kind of a big week coming up here after the truncated holiday week, which, by the way, I hope everyone's holiday week was awesome. I know mine was. And if yours was half as good as mine, you're probably smiling from ear to ear right now. We got some earnings coming up this week. We got a little preparation before we get to the rate decision, which happens 2 weeks from this week. So I believe it's going to be the 17th and 18th of December. We got a lot of stuff to do before then. We'll see how the market trades here today. Bitcoin under pressure, although it's bouncing here this morning. We'll see what kind of plays that gives for us. It is the first of the month, too. So we're going to have December inflows today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Monday edition for December 1st, 2025, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. And yeah, do not adjust your screen. I am smiling permanently after last week. What a week. Happy to be back here at work. Happy to be have another market day here where hopefully we're going to make some money. But boy, oh boy, what a holiday weekend it is. Tom is first here today. And I'll be honest, Tom, I'll read this comment all day. The Chicago Bears clipped the Philadelphia Eagles wings. Take that, Jim Cramer. Take that. Clipped the Philadelphia Eagles wings, and now it's on to the Green Bay Packers, and it's time to unpack the Packers. Go Bears, indeed. It is Packer week. I'm still friends with 13, but man, oh man, it is going to be a week and a half here in Chicago, and everything's covered in snow so far. Absolutely amazing. Producer says Bears versus 13's Packers. Ryan's Bears versus 13 Packers. Can you feel the tension? You will. I don't know how much tension there's going to be, but I'm ready for this. I am ready for this. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Brian says watching Sirianni lose to the Bears was the best part of my weekend. Glad I could help, Brian. Glad we, I suppose, could help. Welcome back. Good morning. EKS, good morning. Talking about some M&A here early. We should expect to see some more of that in 2026. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Nancy, good morning. I know crypto's taking a hit. It is bouncing pretty ferociously here this morning, however. And this should actually make for some pretty good trading in some of the ETFs that follow crypto, both the inverse and the regular 1X and levered products. So maybe we'll have those here to trade. MSTZ, MicroStrategy. Where's Jamie Dimon at? Maybe we can get some MSTZ trades here today. We'll see. Anyway, Nancy, good to have you back. Tara, good morning. Welcome back. Yassine, good morning. Yassine says Bears won weekend snow over the weekend. It was perfect. Indeed, it was, Yassine. Indeed, it was. Apparently, we're supposed to get some more here today. We'll see how that shakes out. Azrar, good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Free Diddy, good morning. Welcome back. Kelly, or two, good morning. Welcome back. Big Abees, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Chris, good morning. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Cam, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Yasso Fine, good morning. Producers ready to go. Johnny, good morning. Welcome back. H&H Tactical, good morning. It's good to see you. Big Dave, good morning. Welcome back. I love all of the Bears emojis, man. You guys are making me happy here today. Just passing through, good morning. Englade, good morning. Kevin, good morning. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Are you ready to clash with my Packers? Oh, it is Packer week. I was born ready. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Marty, good morning. It's good to see you. Archangel, good morning. Kimmy, good morning. Tyler, good morning. Parmesan, good morning. First timer trying to figure this all out. Sean, you're in the right spot here. Really quickly, just the rundown here. We go through news for about the first 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes we have a guest in there. Monday is guest free here today. Then we bring 13 on near the 9 o'clock hour. We break down some of the movers. We get prepared for the market session here. And then once it opens, we take a look at our scanners and we talk about what we're seeing and what we're trading. The chat gets involved. It's a great place to be. So welcome, Sean. Hopefully you enjoy yourself here today. Kenneth, good morning. Welcome back. Rustam, it's good to see you again. Welcome back. Best Life, good morning. Welcome back. Harvey, good morning. Castle, good morning. Uncle Dracula checking in from Transylvania. Let's go. B&W, good morning. Robot to Trade, good morning. C Boogie, good morning. Edward, good morning. James, good to see you again. Good morning. Dive Deep, good morning. Another James, good morning. JJ, good to see you. Neville and Kevin, welcome back. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the stock market today. Futures under pressure ahead of the open here for the 1st of December. S&P futures down 0.74%, Dow futures down 0.5%, and the NASDAQ leading the way lower there at 0.97%. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. All S&P 500 sectors, barring healthcare, were in the green on Friday, the truncated session, with energy, IT, communication, and financial services leading the way. U.S. stock futures, however, slipped on Monday, pulling back after Friday's rally, which marked the 5th consecutive session for gains over Thanksgiving weekend. Markets remained downbeat Monday morning despite strong Black Friday sales, which we're going to talk about here in a sec, with online sales rising 9.4% from a year earlier and easing fears of the first sales decline in 4 years and weakening consumer sentiment. Investors are going to await earnings from MongoDB, that's ticker MDB, CrowdStrike, ticker CRWD, and Salesforce, ticker CRM, among others this week following the long Thanksgiving weekend. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.04%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.49%. Now, we do have some stocks in focus here kicking off the beginning of December. The first one's going to be NVIDIA. Shares were down 1.16% in the pre-market amid growing concerns regarding rising competition in the GPU space, with Google parents Alphabet unveiling its Ironwood AI tensor processing units, or TPUs, and its potential partnership with Meta. Furthermore, we've also suspected and seen some rotation out of big cap tech, and NVIDIA is the leader there. Looks like we're seeing a little bit more here, especially with futures under pressure this morning. Now, with this being the first of the month, we are expecting inflows, so it'll be interesting to see if big cap tech catches any of those inflows and if the market bounces at all here today. The second stock on our list is going to be NIO. That's ticker NIO. It's down 4% pre-market despite posting record vehicle deliveries and a decline in its losses during the third quarter results last week. So good news there from NIO, met with some selling here early. Intel is the next stock on our list. That's ticker INTC. That's down 1.11% in the pre-market. That surged 10% on Friday after analysts suggested that the company could become a foundry supplier from some of Apple's M-series processors. The next stock on our list here is BMNR, Bitmine Immersion Technologies. That's down 6.39% in the pre-market after surging 4.35% on Friday and after announcing a new Ethereum crypto purchase. Now, again, Bitcoin under some pressure here today. We'll see where it all closes up. But this morning, Bitcoin sold off beneath 85,500 before bouncing back to the 86,500 handle. The last stock on our list here is going to be Mongo Database, ticker MDB. Shares of the database engine platform MongoDB are down about 0.5% in the pre-market ahead of the company's third quarter earnings on Monday after the market closes. This is likely the biggest report that we're going to see after the close here today. All right, folks, let's go ahead and check out our SPY chart. How do we start the week and start the month? Great to see more folks filing in here. ATL Russ, I hope your Thanksgiving with friends and fam was awesome. Welcome back. Rooster, same to you, boss. Welcome back. Fergus, good morning. It's good to see you again as well. Now, taking a look at our SPY chart here. Well, Friday, pretty good. It was a very, very clean bounce last week, or I guess going back to the Thursday and Friday of the week prior. We bounced clean off the 100-day, and last week, as we were trading back up, we recaptured several key levels, namely the two all-time high breakout levels of 667.34 and 673. We also recaptured the 50-day moving average and the 20-day moving average, and finally broke over the trend line, the downtrend line that we have originating from the all-time highs on October 29th earlier this year. So with today's session being down here in the pre-market about 0.7%, if we take a look, we can see exactly where we're at. Boy, the price sure seems to be riding this trend line that we drew on here. So this is definitely going to be a key area. Realistically, if you wanted to round that off to a number to take it a look at here, I got to think 678 is probably that number. The trend line is obviously a little bit higher than 678, maybe 678 and a half-ish, but for the most part, for all intents and purposes here, downside support 678. It does look like we've kind of bounced off of that twice in the overnight and pre-market session, so we'll see if that has any type of strength here when the regular session opens. As mentioned, it's the first of the month, so we are expecting some inflows here today. We'll see if that's enough to change this early sentiment here, or early negative sentiment, I would say. The other thing to take a look at for key levels here, we also want to pay attention to this high from November 12th. That high in here is 684.96, so let's just call that 685. It's worth noting that on Friday last week, we struggled to get above 684. So despite the bullish action that we saw on Friday, it really couldn't peak above that 684 level. 685 seems to be that previous high, not an all-time high, but that previous high that likely is going to be in play here today as some resistance. And then that all-time high is sitting up there at 689.70. I'll be honest, unless something really big happens today, I don't think that's in play here today. We'll see how the market trades here today and what the earnings lead for to tomorrow, but this is kind of the battle plan, what we're looking at here on the SPY. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts as we start our final month of 2025 here. On the first trading day of the month, Ryan Dietrich, chief market strategist at the Carson Group, pointed out that whenever the S&P 500 has been up more than 10% year to date heading into the final 2 months of the year, the index has finished those last 2 months in positive territory all 16 times on record. On Sunday, in a post on X, Dietrich concluded that saying he still thinks Santa is coming to town in December and hinted at a strong end of the year. Now, as always, if you want to go through any of the infographics or stats produced here by the Carson's Group, Ryan Dietrich, those are going to be linked in the story here today. We have no economic data here today, so we are in the clear for that. We did have crude oil futures climbed 1.69% in early New York trading. It's holding around 59.53 a barrel. We'll see if crude gets going here. Looking at it, it's up by 0.96%, holding on to the 59 handle at the moment. All right, let's talk about Black Friday. So again, I reiterate, did anyone out there find anything killer on Black Friday? I gotta say, I was quite surprised. I found a number of things, high quality products that I actually wanted, and was able to pick some of those things up. A lot of them were car or car detailing related, but I did feel like I got pretty good deals. I think 30% off was pretty standard for anything that I ordered, with some things getting closer to 50 and 60% off. So the deals were good, at least for the stuff that I was looking at. Talked to a couple of my friends over the holiday weekend too. They were also shopping. So it's good to see some of this information come out here. American consumers have demonstrated their purchasing power this Black Friday. Record-breaking online sales were reported, with billions spent across various platforms and industries. It's also worth noting today is Cyber Monday, so there's likely going to be more deals, perhaps even some specific online-only details that boost this number further. But so far, pretty good start to the big, I don't want to say the start of the holiday shopping season, but the big event in the holiday shopping season in Black Friday. Adobe Analytics noted a 9.1% increase in online spending from the previous year, reaching an unprecedented $11.8 billion. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. local time, online shopping carts were bustling with activity, processing 12.5 million every minute. Thanksgiving Day also witnessed record spending, online spending, accounting to $6.4 billion. Electronics, video game consoles, and home appliances emerged as the top-selling categories, as reported by the Associated Press. Now, again, I was reaching out to my network all holiday season, friends, family, and anyone else I talked to, frankly, about what it was they were looking at, how much were they looking to spend. Seemed to be no limits this Black Friday. Several people were looking at new vehicles. Other people were looking at new televisions. I know Day Trader said he got a really awesome television. Laura in Florida said they got the Ninja air fryer. I've actually heard really good things about that Ninja air fryer. You'll have to let me know how that goes. So I know that wallets were open. The stats verify that, but I think what surprised me the most is that several people, adult people in my ecosystem, people that are adults with families, they actually went out and braved some in-person Black Friday sales. One of my friends said he showed up at a store at 5 o'clock in the morning for a doorbuster deal on a monitor that he was able to get, and brought his daughter with him. His daughter had a hell of a time. So I understand that a lot of these numbers here are online, and I definitely expected that. I mean, shopping online on Thanksgiving and Black Friday is where it's at, but it appears that there was also foot traffic at the stores as well, with some pretty good deals, dragging people out. So very interesting. I guess that is probably the most surprising part for me. Software company Salesforce estimated Black Friday online sales to be 18 billion in the US and 79 billion globally. Shopify recorded that its merchants made a record 6.2 billion in sales worldwide on Black Friday, with peak sales hitting 5.1 million per minute. The top categories were cosmetics and clothing. I did buy some clothing this Black Friday that I got 30% off on my entire order, not just select items either. According to MasterCard Spending Pulse, overall Black Friday sales grew. Black Friday sales saw a 4.1% increase from last year, excluding automotive. Online sales experienced a double-digit jump of 10.4%, while in-store purchases saw a modest increase of 1.7%. This is kind of what I was alluding to just a second ago. I would have expected this to be much lower. I was actually surprised, at least anecdotally, from the amount of people that were actually going to stores, not just clicking buttons in their pajamas on Thanksgiving. Despite the online sales boom, in-store traffic has been on a decline. Data from Retail Next showed a 3.6% drop in U.S. Black Friday traffic compared to 2024. However, the week of Black Friday saw a nearly 57% increase in traffic compared to the previous week. That came from Sensomatic Solutions. And my read through on that is that, yeah, you know what? When Thanksgiving, the day, or when Black Friday, the day, actually rolls around, not everyone wants to spend it in a store. A lot of people are probably weighed down by leftovers, or enjoying time with family, or football, or sleeping off some adult beverages, or whatever combination they're in. It seems to me that especially on the holiday, that traffic is lower. I guess still increased traffic for the week. Black Friday now becoming more of an event. Adobe predicts U.S. shoppers will spend an additional $5.5 billion on Saturday and $5.9 billion on Sunday. I think those were hit, reaching an estimated $14.2 billion peak on Cyber Monday, which is today. The record-breaking Black Friday sales come amid economic uncertainties, demonstrating the resilience of the American consumer. The surge in online sales indicates a shift in consumer behavior, with more people opting for online shopping over in-store purchases. This trend could have significant implications for retailers, necessitating a reevaluation of their strategies to cater to the changing consumer preference. None of that should be new news, in my opinion. Now, so good Black Friday stuff. We talked a little bit about a potentially positive December. We got another veteran analyst saying that U.S. equities are, in fact, set for a Santa Claus rally. Veteran analyst Ed Yardini on Saturday predicted Santa Claus could be coming early to Wall Street this year, saying that U.S. equities are showing early signs of holiday cheer. Always good to see. Remember, Ryan Dietrich thinks there is going to be a Santa Claus rally. Tom Lee was on CNBC this morning. I know he's always bullish, but he was saying maybe even possible up to 7,300 in the S&P cash by end of the year. He also made a pretty bold call that Bitcoin may recapture 100K by the end of the year, but he too thinks that it's going to be a good closeout to the year here, which should culminate in a Santa Claus rally. Yardeni said in his latest note that the stock market's recovery aligns with predictions made on November 23rd. During the holiday-shortened Thanksgiving week, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose over 4%, the S&P gained nearly 5%, while the NASDAQ surged around 6%. Quote, once their panic selling of Bitcoin subsides, the stock market should recover. That could happen over the next couple of weeks, setting the stock market up for a good year-end rally, end quote. The S&P 500 has risen above its 50-day moving average. We covered that on the chart, indicating a potential climb to 7,000 by year's end. Get those end-of-year targets in. Love to see where they're at. Meanwhile, Alphabet saw its stock price increase following the announcement of its new language model, Gemini 3, which reportedly outperforms competitors and uses more cost-effective Google Tensor Processing Unit chip. Alphabet's Class A shares were up nearly 8% over the previous 5 trading sessions. We talked about that. Google was just an absolute monster trade for a lot of folks here in our chat. I'll be honest, just looking back at my own trading on that, definitely should have held on to some. I was a little too quick on the gun on Google only, but it is what it is. However, AI bellwether NVIDIA has not fully recovered, with its stock down by over 2% of the previous 5 trading sessions. Now, last week, even with the truncated week, we did see some bullish call flow for NVIDIA around that 190 strike. So we'll see if that turns around here at all. Adding to the optimism, New York Fed President John Williams hinted at a possible interest rate cut during the upcoming FOMC meeting on December 10th. Oh, I had those dates wrong. Excuse me. December 10th and 11th. I think I had it as the 17th and the 18th. My apologies. The NASDAQ also shows potential for reaching a new record high with a 2.5% increase. The recent rebound in the S&P 500 follows a period of market nervousness, particularly around AI stocks. Yardeni previously advised investors to view the pullback in AI stocks as a buying opportunity. He argues that the current market condition contrasts with the late 1990s, where a lack of concern preceded the tech wreck. And that's something that we've covered here, too. There are a lot of folks talking about this being a potential bubble. That's generally not what happens around bubbles. Also, we saw structured outflow of a lot of these tech stocks or high flyer stocks. That's also something that that doesn't really happen in bubbles. That stuff kind of all happens at once, and that does not appear to be the case this time. Now, knock on wood, we'll see how it shakes out for the rest of the year here, but so far, so good. ABEX is a buying opportunity. Yardeni had previously noted the potential for a stock market melt-up reminiscent of the late 90s tech boom, driven by factors like softening inflation and a determined Federal Reserve. The sentiment was echoed in Yardeni's previous prediction from October 27th, where the analyst adjusted his predictions for a roaring 2020s bull market scenario. The market recovery also aligns with Yardeni's view on a comparative value of gold and Bitcoin. In a note from October 15th, he described gold as physical Bitcoin, suggesting a shift in investor sentiment, easy for me to say, towards traditional assets amid digital asset volatility. So that panned out. We'll see how much more that has to pan out. Now, it would not be the start of a new week if we did not talk about some type of self-driving story. And this one has a little bit of color added by Ross Gerber. Investment firm Gerber Kawasaki's co-founder Ross Gerber thinks that the Alphabet-backed, or I guess Google, GOOG, Alphabet-backed self-driving company Waymo's expansion in San Francisco could pose a challenge to Uber. In a post on social media on Friday, on X on Friday, Gerber shared that Waymo's expansion into San Francisco has resulted in a 10% market share for the company in that region, adding that the market share was just from the Waymo app. Quote, Uber is cooked, end quote, from Ross Gerber. He goes on to say, Uber drivers better start upgrading the experience because I prefer Waymo 10x more than the Uber driver, end quote. No word yet if everyone feels the same way that Ross does, but obviously he's very excited here. You folks will have to let me know which one you prefer. I'm old-fashioned. Maybe I'm the boomer of the show here. I still prefer a regular human to be in there. That's just me. The comments follow Gerber's earlier comments, where he hailed Waymo as a leader in autonomous driving cabs. Quote, Waymo is well ahead in the robotaxi business and getting further ahead by the week, end quote. Again, came from Gerber via X. The investor had also shared that he was impressed by the improvements to Tesla's full self-driving system after the updates, saying that it was, quote, a big step up, end quote, from the previous iterations of the technology. Tesla also recently began offering free full self-driving rides to customers across multiple countries in Europe amid a planned European expansion of its self-driving technology. Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi said that the platform will offer high-paying artificial intelligence gigs to drivers on its platform. The ride-hailing giant will launch a pilot operation of its digital tasks, which will allow users to complete a short AI-related gigs through the Uber driver app. The initiative is already operating in India, according to the company. Meanwhile, the company also kicked off its autonomous driving operations with WeRide. Again, that's ticker WRD, which we've traded recently. That WeRide's operations are in the United Arab Emirates as Abu Dhabi becomes the first city in the Middle East, as well as the first market outside the U.S. to offer level 4 autonomous driving cabs on the Uber platform. Tyler here says, I want a live person behind the wheel, please. Tyler, I'm in complete agreement with you. I mean, maybe things change. I'm a big fan of never saying never in most cases. Maybe that changes. Maybe I feel differently. But right now, boss, I feel the exact same way. I am not excited at all. But here we go. Producers cracking already. YouTube poll is up. Uber versus Waymo. Uber, I want a driver. Waymo, I don't mind autonomous. And I think the third there is a mix of both. Okay. Now, I generally try to keep everything positive here, but we happen to have a Peter Schiff story. So there's going to be some negative and some snarling going on, and we're just going to get past it and still have a great day here today. Economist Peter Schiff called Bitcoin, quote, a fake asset, end quote, on Sunday, distinguishing it from risk-off technology stocks. In an ex-post, Schiff said Bitcoin's ongoing slump isn't due to its risk sentiment, but rather to its lack of intrinsic value. Quote, Bitcoin isn't selling off because it's a risk asset, but because it's a fake asset, end quote. Day trader, let me know what you think about Peter Schiff's opinion here. I'd be curious. I guess anyone else, I'm interested in that as well. Peter Schiff, maybe he did not have a great Thanksgiving. Maybe the food wasn't very good. I don't know, but awfully negative here. The Bitcoin critic noted that the NASDAQ composite, considered a barometer for tech stocks on Wall Street, is less than 2% off its record close, while Bitcoin is more than 28%. Quote, this shows there's more than just risk off at play. This rotation from fake to real assets, end quote. He's not holding back here, Peter Schiff. I give him credit for that. He makes a call. Anyone wants this or wants the actual quotes, let me go ahead and throw that story in the chat as well. I give credit. People that make conviction calls, I like that. It at least gives me something to look at. It at least gives me something else to read about. Even if you end up being wrong, if you make a conviction call, that's good. It goes for everyone in here too. It's just, I'm having a little fun with it here just because he's so negative. Schiff's latest remarks are a departure from his previous stance, which is also kind of funny to me, where he likened Bitcoin to a digital tech stock with no earnings potential. He had argued that Bitcoin's price movements were highly correlated with those of technology stocks, despite it not being an operating business with revenue and earnings. Interestingly, Bitcoin's correlation with the NASDAQ composite has increased lately, with the correlation coefficient rising from 0.12 to 0.4, obviously 1 being the highest score you can get there. This was in November, and that was according to data from TradingView. Big Dave here says, Peter Schiff is absolutely correct. Bitcoin is fake. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? We got a little Trump fears. Remember when Diamond was a vocal opponent of Bitcoin? Lol, how'd that go? Yeah, How did that go? Nathan says Peter broken clock shift, right twice a century. Peter, I might, or excuse me, Peter, heavens to Betsy, I'm getting the names confused now. Nathan, that's really good. I might clip that and reuse that. Another factor to consider is that while Bitcoin has faltered recently, its gains over the last 5 years have considerably surpassed those of the NASDAQ composite. Schiff's comments come amid a Schiff's comments come amid a broader debate of the viability of cryptocurrencies as long-term investments. He warned last week that companies using Bitcoin or Ethereum for their corporate treasury strategies are, quote, ultimately doomed, end quote. He compared the current cryptocurrency landscape to past speculative bubbles, arguing that the digital asset boom is larger than the dot-com mania and built on nothing. So he's generally a very negative guy here on Bitcoin. This, to me, I think if I had to grade them out here, this to me seems like it's even more negative than usual. So again, maybe he did not have a great Thanksgiving. I don't know. But in any case, that's where he feels like a quick check in at Bitcoin here. It did bounce off that roll to the low, holding steady here at 86,260. And again, that's the futures contract price that I'm reading you. Looks like it's everything's okay after that data center cooling outage that we saw last week. Everything appears to be back to normal. EKS says Bitcoin is a store of value, laughing, rolling on the floor face emoji. Buy gold and silver instead. It's been used as a store of value for centuries. Can't argue with that. What I would say about store of value or any of that, if that's why you're buying it, don't even mess around with tickers, folks. If you're buying gold for a store of value or silver for that matter, buy the actual metal itself. I feel like. Lion, I know you love gold. How many is Lion even here yet? Or maybe he's not awake yet, or he's got a restaurant to run or something. No, I said there he is. Lion's here. Lion, let me know. Do you prefer actual gold or do you prefer the paper gold, some asset in your brokerage account? Be curious to know. All right, let's talk a little bit about Amazon here. This is a interesting story given the outage that we saw last week. Wow, I've got some type of, there we go. In a joint effort to address the increasing need for reliable connectivity, Amazon and Alphabet's Google have launched a new multi-cloud networking service. Now, what on earth could go wrong with this? I don't know. Probably nothing, right? We'll see. The new service announced on Sunday will enable customers to establish private, high-speed links between the two companies' computing platforms in a matter of minutes rather than weeks. This initiative comes at a time when even brief internet disruptions can lead to significant outages. The service combines Amazon Web Services Interconnect Multi-Cloud with Google Cloud's Cross-Cloud Interconnect. Be sure to get those right, folks. Aiming to enhance network interoperability. AWS plans to partner with Microsoft Azure later in 2026. This is good. You guys were worried about circular funding. All of these competitors are going to be a big, happy family. It sounds like coming pretty soon. Robert Kennedy, no relation, so don't worry. Vice President of Network Services at Amazon Web Services, described the collaboration as a, quote, fundamental shift in multi-cloud connectivity, end quote. Meanwhile, Rob Enns, Vice President and General Manager of Cloud Networking at Google Cloud, stated that the joint network aims to simplify the process of moving data and applications between clouds. Google Cloud revealed that Salesforce is among the early adopters of this new approach. Amazon Web Services expands its footprint. The joint initiative by Amazon and Google comes in the wake of a major AWS outage in October, which was caused by a rare software bug in one of the company's critical systems. The outage affected over 1,000 websites and services, highlighting the critical need for reliable connectivity. Amazon's Web Services operates a vast network of over 900 data centers across 50 plus countries, The division additionally maintains server racks across hundreds of co-location facilities, dubbed colo facilities, which supplied about 20% of Amazon Web Services' total computing power in 2024. Amazon Web Services posted 20% year-over-year revenue growth to $33 billion, its fastest pace since 2022, and more than twice Google's $15.16 billion. On the other hand, Google Cloud has been making significant strides in the cloud services industry, with the division's annual revenue run rate already surpassing $50 billion. The introduction of this new multi-cloud service is likely to further enhance Google Cloud's appeal to customers looking for reliable and efficient cloud networking solutions. Okay. EKS says the CME outage was fake news as they had triple backed up systems. I believe it was halted so shorts could get out of their silver positions. Yo, EKS. I think what's notable here is that EKS, most of your stuff is grounded in straight like stats and news. You don't necessarily prescribe to and I'm using this nicely here, the tinfoil hat, but this is interesting. I think it was all fake to let shorts out of their silver positions. That is something else. Looks like Glenn agrees with you here. Glenn agrees with that. Interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. But that's I'm interested in that. Okay. Almost done here, and then we can go ahead and do chart time, and we are expecting 13 pretty soon. Okay. Kathy says, what's the benefit of owning physical gold versus gold? So the big one to me is that, first of all, you actually hold it in your hand. These paper assets, they're just that, paper assets. And if there's like a serious run, who's to say that your paper asset is going to get honored? You might be able to sell it for whatever price you see on the screen. That's not what I mean. I don't think there's going to be any funny business with this. But if what you're worried about is, some catastrophic event, don't you want to have the gold in hand? Don't you want to physically have the piece of gold in your hand? It just seems to me that, like we talk about owning stocks and all of that. These are all paper assets too. It just seems like if one of the things that I was really trying to do was diversify into something that had its own store of value, I'd want the actual item, not a slip that says, hey, you own X amount of this. But that's why I asked. Everyone's a little bit different. All right. Last news story here, and we can start taking a look at some charts, which I'm sure you're all waiting for here. OpenAI's partners rack up $96 billion in debt as the AI industry's borrowing trend escalates. And I think this is really the big, this is really kind of like the big fear with some of this is some of the AI craze is this actually going to pan out, or is this going to end up in disaster? Companies supplying data centers, chips, and processing power to OpenAI have racked up a staggering $96 billion in debt to fund their operations. According to the report, the AI industry's increasing reliance on debt as its dependence of the loss-making startup OpenAI continues to raise concerns. The revenue generated by AI firms and the rapidly expanding data center operations serving them falls short of covering their build-out costs. As per the report by the Financial Times, OpenAI has pledged a whopping $1.4 trillion to secure the energy and computing power needed for its future operations. However, it expects to generate only $20 billion in revenues this year. A recent study by the HSBC indicates that even if OpenAI's revenues surpass $200 billion by 2030, it will still require an additional $207 billion in funding to stay afloat. OpenAI's partners, which include SoftBank, Oracle, and CoreWeave, have already borrowed $30 billion. Blue Owl Capital and Crusoe have taken out $28 billion in loans, with another $38 billion under negotiation with Oracle and Vantage as their respective banks, reported by the outlet Financial Times. The shift towards debt financing in the AI sector is a recent phenomenon. In the past, most AI buildouts were financed with cash directly from the balance sheet of large tech firms such as Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, and Meta. Furthermore, the big five hyperscalers, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Oracle, have accumulated $121 billion in new debt this year to fund AI operations, according to Bank of America. This figure is over 4 times the average debt level used by these companies over the past 5 years, indicating a significant shift in the industry's financing strategies. So this is Bigga B says, it's what we've been talking about, Ryan. Do you have the link to this article? Absolutely. I will drop it here. Bigga B's, when I saw this article, I thought, did someone from our happy hour show write this? Because this is literally what we've been talking about on a regular basis. We've been really kind of summing it up by saying, where's all the money coming from, right? Because, it's great. You read these PRs, you see the stock line go up, right? OpenAI is going to invest X billion in this company. Stock price goes up. Everyone's happy. And then as more people start thinking, hey, where's this money coming from? How much money do these companies actually have? Oh, wait, they're taking on debt. How much debt? Are they going to be able to cover this debt? All of these other things here. So this is indeed what we're talking about. Bigga B is, I'll be honest with you, I know we discuss it quite a bit. I'm not sure anyone actually knows the answer to this yet. I think we're going to see how this all shakes out. And I do think I tend to be an optimist. I tend to always believe that the extreme outcomes on the good and the bad side are very, very rare. The truth normally, or the reality, I guess I should say, normally lands somewhere in the middle. And that's what I think on this. But I do recognize that there is a point here where if collectively the market and its participants wake up and say, hey, this entire math equation isn't going to work, we might start to play defense here. The way I see that actually playing out in the charts is like a little bit of a blip and then maybe a bit of a bounce. And then as more people start to come through, that fear tends to build on itself. And I think if we get to a tipping point, that's when you're going to see a big move down. It is eventually going to be an overcorrection in the opposite direction. Maybe we'll get that in 2026. I don't know. But this is definitely something. Let's put it this way. Data center, AI, some of these big companies that we looked at in 2025, I got news for you, folks. They're going to be front and center for 2026 too. Even if something like small caps pick up and become a good space to kind of go to or look for, I still think there's going to be just tons and tons of news that changes market dynamics all the time. So we'll see how this shakes out here. I recognize that this can go either way. I tend to think that cooler heads are going to prevail, but we shall see. Lion says, Ryan, I own physical gold and I own a lot of mining stocks. That makes sense. And actually that diversification of owning both makes sense. Again, the point that I was just trying to make with the physical gold early is that if you have this worry that something really crazy could affect, and forget Bitcoin, take Bitcoin off the table. I mean, obviously Bitcoin would be affected, but if something affects our financial system or our banking system, if you have a chunk of gold, it doesn't matter what country you're in. It almost doesn't matter what profession you're in. That's going to be valuable, and that is going to retain its value. And ultimately, that's what you said you're buying it for, if it's a store of value. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm not saying, and that's maybe I should clarify there. I'm not saying that you should not own something like a GLD, an ETF. Those are great to trade, great to own in a lot of cases. I'm just saying for like the big fear or the big reason to own it, it just seems like having a chunk or two of it in a safe or in a safe spot in your home probably makes a lot of sense. When I first started talking about it, I mean, I'm talking way back when I was in high school, and I first started talking to people that have been market veterans or had been investing for a long time. Some of the financial professionals that my parents dealt with at the time, they all shared the same opinion. They said gold is great. You should absolutely have a diversified portfolio. And frankly, you should have gold in your home just in case something really terrible happens. The way my mom looked at it was that, well, if it gets really bad, we'll just melt down some of my jewelry. Okay, we'll see how that ends up shaking out. Hopefully my mom doesn't have to do that. Fingers crossed for you, Mom. Okay, that's it with the news. Let's go ahead and take a look at some tickers here. Again, did not have a guest for you here this morning. Basically just going to do ticker time. And then also we'll do the movers here as soon as 13 gets on. So some of those smaller movers will absolutely take a look, like DBLT, QTTB. We'll take a look at all of that. Maybe one of the things that we should do is just kind of start with some of the big cap tech, since that's what some of the news was about. We'll start here with NVIDIA because it definitely seems to be the bellwether. And NVIDIA, when we were talking last week, we were actually watching this really kind of respect this trend line here. Obviously, that huge reversal after its earnings ended up taking us back beneath the trend line, and then we gave up some of the moving averages. Now, it sure seems like NVIDIA down just over 1% here in the pre-market. This is what your intraday chart looks like. The one thing that I want to say about this real quick, especially some of these big cap techs, remember, first of the month here. So I understand that we have a little bit of a weak pre-market here, but if we get inflows, we get any type of good news, we get any type of hold and reversal here, some of these stocks are actually going to make great short-term trades. Maybe just a day trade, but maybe also a short-term trade as well. NVIDIA here, looking at the pre-market, sure seems like 173-ish. Yeah, let's call it 173, maybe 173 and a half. This is going to be a support area for today. It's trying to bounce here. We'll see what happens when the volume shows up in the regular session. Now, it looks like we do have some news here. Let's see. Here we go. So, yes, news as of this morning. NVIDIA and Synopsys announced a strategic partnership to revolutionize engineering and design. So NVIDIA will invest $2 billion in Synopsys common stock at $414.79 per share. Okay, SNPS is going to be your ticker for Synopsys. This right here, the clear winner of this one, obviously. I'm day trader. I didn't have this on the list. This obviously just happened recently. A day trader, excuse me, producer. I didn't have this on the list. This actually just happened right before the show, it looks like, or right as the show started here. Here's what your Synopsys chart looks like intraday. Stock closed right around 417 and a half. Looks like we tested 460 here in the pre-market. Let's take a look at the daily chart here. So here you go. We are now trading at 447. So today's move so far, a recapture of the 50-day moving average. It looks like we also have like this sideways area that we really need to take out. The top end of that is 473. So we're still in this range. I would say 436 to 473, that range that we're going to need to clear here today. I don't know if we break up or down from this, or maybe even just stay in this range, but this is what I'd be looking at. This is great too, because we do have a target here of the 200-day moving average at 489.11. We recently had this death cross, but let's see. The death cross occurred on October 28th. The golden cross occurred in July. So I almost wonder if that's enough time for this to kind of bleed out. I'll tell you what, let's ask the death cross master himself and see. Here's 13. 13, good morning. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Had a wonderful weekend. Great start to the month so far. Happy December, everybody. I don't have a whole lot of light coming through my window, so I'm looking a little dark over here. But other than that, pretty good morning. How about you?
Dude, I woke up. I mean, first of all, this has been great. Thanksgiving's one of my favorite holidays. My Thanksgiving was fantastic. Glad to hear that yours was as well. But then we had the Bears literally telling Jim Cramer to stuff it and playing bully ball over his Philadelphia Eagles and just absolutely romping them. So I had a great Friday. I had 28 hours of snow on Saturday into Sunday. The entire landscape is just white. I wore white yesterday to celebrate. I am so happy. I'm doing so good, 13, that I'm really, really excited to get this week kicked off.
Sounds good to me. Let's have a good week then.
Okay. I'm going to start with Synopsys here. I was kind of setting you up for it. One of the, we did have some news here. I don't know if you were on to hear that, but basically NVIDIA is going to invest $2 billion in Synopsys by buying the stock at 417. Looking at the chart here, it does look like this is popping it. Obviously, we're popping above the 50-day moving average. It actually does look like this comes at a really good time because it sure looks like we have a double bottom that was kind of put in here from the Liberation Day lows as well as the recent lows in, I believe, November. So maybe things are turning around here. The question that I had for you is we had the recent death cross of the 50 moving through the 200 to the downside occur at the end of October. I'm wondering two things. A, have we resolved from that? And B, What does it mean when we had a golden cross, 3-4 months prior to that?
Oh, so these, when you have this oscillation with the 50-day SMA and the 200-day SMA, and they're so close like that, it tends to be a lot less meaningful for these golden and death crosses. So we did, like you just said, we just had one back in July. Now, I'd say that's probably going to be enough time, but let's say that we do have a death cross here, and it's signaling that there's some downside ahead. We just recaptured the 20-day SMA, and now we're trading above the 50. That could be a reversal, and it could lead to the end of the what I was just saying about how this oscillation tends to weaken the case for the bearishness of a death cross or the bullishness of a golden cross. So I'll say this: if this price action cannot hold above the 50-day SMA and we lose and start closing beneath it again, well, then we'll probably have much better resolution of the death cross that we had back toward the end of October. It just looks like it's trying to kind of come back up. So as long as it's recapturing some of these moving averages, it could invalidate that death cross.
Okay. All right. Well, that's awesome because that actually gives us a number of very clear things to look at here. Your 50-day moving average is at 441.07. So let's just call it 441. Let's get a close on Synopsis above 441 here today, and maybe we can actually start building some more upside momentum. So, okay.
I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking this kind of looks like it wants 500. Now you got some resistance areas, some resistance levels in the way. One that stands out is 460, and another one that stands out above that is going to be, looks like about 485. So those will give you a couple of resistance areas to the upside prior to 500 and the 200-day SMA.
Okay, perfect. There's even more levels for you on SNPS. Good stuff there, producer, especially with the news this morning. Yeah.
Can I direct your attention to one that's taken off right now?
No.
Okay. Of
course you can. I mean, come on. Of course you can.
AHMA. This is about to break a trend line. This had no news, so be very careful with this. The company is slightly profitable, but this is a Chinese company, so we don't have a whole lot of information on it. But yeah, okay. So you'd already had the trend line.
No, I just literally drew it by guessing based on what you said. So
okay, well you guessed correctly because look at the price action we got earlier, like about 15 minutes ago, and then we're revisiting this area already. So this is the trend line. Might be difficult to close over, but this has been getting hit twice. If it manages to break through this trend line and close above it, you have that 1273 area where it got resistance earlier this morning. That would be the area I'd be looking to take out.
So this is through its subsidiaries in the United Arab Emirates. It operates as a tour operator, travel agency, and event planning and management services provider. Let me ask you, does this have anything to do with the upcoming F1 race this weekend that's of massive importance in Abu Dhabi?
There you go. Tie a catalyst to this.
I mean, I'm looking for anything. I'm just guessing. I just happened to have a discussion with the producer this morning before we went on air. You brought this up to me. This was not on my list at all. So I'm just kind of drawing the pieces or drawing the lines together. Producer says that's exactly what I first thought.
Interesting. Okay, so you got a major event that's tied to the area that this company is in, and you got a catalyst. So 1273. See if we can break it. We're hitting that trend line right now, but I'm still not seeing it get a close over it yet in this current candle. We'll see if it can, but if it does, then 1273 is where I'd be looking next.
Okay. I'll tell you what, this was so good that I actually feel bad about making a joke and initially saying no. So I'm sorry about that, 13, but really, really good stuff. Of course I was joking. All right. You want to just hit the movers and then we can round out the rest of this with the other chart time. By the way, apparently Death Cross Master is a sick nickname. Apparently, I just came up with that, but that might be something you want to tinker around with. Thanks, Bri, for the feedback on that.
I'll see if I can get some friends to make a death metal song about it.
We will have the producer can use AI and whip that up in just a few seconds here. So okay.
Perfect.
Okay. AHMA is actually our top mover. Now, keen observers will realize that we have two 100% movers today. The first one we just broke down, so we'll see if we end up getting any of that stuff here today. It is trading up and actually still trading on some nice volume.
Yeah, it's looking for that 1273. Might if it gets up there, we could see a breakout through that level. We're in blue sky territory with this right now, so
Yeah. Okay. Really good breakdown. Now the next one here on the list is going to be QTTB. This is Q32 Bio. Q32 Bio shares are trading higher after the company sold its phase 2 complement inhibitor ADX097 to Akiba for $12 million upfront and potential milestone and royalty payments of up to $592 million. So I think what I like the most about this is that they do receive some money up front. That's probably good with a large runway if this thing continues to work. Looking at the actual price action here today, we've basically been above the VWAP all morning until sentiment shifted here at 840. And this is, I beg your pardon, this is actually going to be 940. Excuse me. 855. The stock market opens at 930. So yeah, I'm all mixed up here. So anyway, 8:35 Eastern. It looks like the sentiment really kind of changed here as it's rolling over and actually lost the VWAP now. We'll see if this solidifies or holds on to $4, which sure looks like the next area to test. In the meantime, a quick look at the short interest. 7.95% of the float shorted with 1.6 days to cover. This comes on an average 100-day volume of 217,000 shares. Today, it's done 50 plus million. Float is right in the wheelhouse that we like it here, 3.43 million. So 13, what do you think here on Q32 Bio?
Well, great that they sold phase 2 inhibitor. This company already had cash. They had about 18 months of it, and this just adds to it. So I really wouldn't be worried about their cash position. I don't even, I'm not even certain they'll need to do a capital raise. They just had earnings. Their cash burn rate doesn't look too bad, and this is certainly going to help. And the whole deal that they get 12 million up front and then 592 million in milestones as well as royalties. That, yeah, like you said, that does pave a nice runway for them. So I don't think that this company is going to really have too many financial woes in the near term. That could happen with anything can happen with a biotech, but for now it looks like this is going to be perfectly fine. The 488 level, which we just lost, that was where the 200-day SMA is, and that's where we just popped up to about 20 minutes ago. We went as high as a 503, and then were rejected. So that 200-day SMA, that's certainly going to play a role here this morning in the price action. I don't know we're going to necessarily get back above that. You know what? Let me look at this
and
again.
You know what, 13? I'm sorry.
That's a 200 EMA. The 200-day EMA.
Really quickly here, one thing I actually didn't realize when I was talking about that $4 level, which is the stock's trying to hold here in the pre-market, this was actually the high from October 14th. The actual value was $3.99, but for all intents and purposes, that's $4 there. That level is pretty important for being more than just the round number here. So we'll see if we end up hanging on to that.
Yeah, so that's absolutely going to be a big support area. Now, if this happens to turn around and recapture that 200-day EMA, there's going to be a gap fill higher up around 850. If we even get there today, this is just what we can plan for. But if we do manage to get up to 850 and start filling that massive gap from December of last year, there are going to be some areas where we could run into resistance to the upside. 1380 is one of them. And I think there's one more prior to the gap filling. Looks like about 21, and then the gap fills at almost 23. So large gap to fill there. Probably not going to get filled, if you ask me. It's highly unlikely. But we've seen a lot of these crazy moves happen out of nowhere. And I think the biggest barrier to get through is going to be that 488 at the 200-day EMA.
Okay. Good stuff there. QTTB. We'll see if we get a trade out of this. Got a pretty nice plan, and the levels look good. All right. Next on the list here is going to be FTEL. FTEL, this is Fitel Corporation. They announced a $3 million share repurchase program. Okay. So interestingly, they on average trade 1.24 million shares. Their float's only 1.46. So they're going to buy back $3 million more worth of stock here. Let's see if there's anything else. With a positive outlook on our growth trajectory, the board has approved the share repurchase of up to $3 million of our outstanding Class A ordinary shares over the next 2 years. Okay. All shares repurchased will be held as treasury stock or canceled. It does not obligate the company to acquire any particular number of shares and may be adjusted or terminated. So good on the surface here, but it's got a 2-year window. So we'll see how this actually goes. They full year EPS, a 53-cent loss. That was up from a $10.63 loss year over year. So I guess that's good. I'm sure there was something specific in here that's causing those numbers to be so different. I'm not sure what it is. Sales of 5.2 million. That was up from 4.46 million year over year. So it does look like things are better. Now they want to buy some of their stock back. Generally speaking, that's a good sign for a small cap if all things are going well here. So I don't know much about the company, but on the surface, it looks all right. This popped the stock up above 140. Doing a good job holding on to its VWAP, which is currently at 120. 13, what do you think here on FTEL? Oh, you know what? Real quickly, let me give you the short interest. 2.58% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. And again, average volume here, 1.24 million. So what do you think on this one, 13?
So FTEL, I guess the question here is, where's the money going to come from in order to do that 3 million share repurchase, right? Because they've only got, according to their latest financial data, they've got a little less than 2 million in cash. Do have revenue, but it's not enough. So kind of wondering, where is this coming from? Well, a little bit further, earlier last month, they had announced that they are going to have a 50 million convertible note financing. So there could be some capital coming from that in order to facilitate the share repurchase. That's my best guess as to where that's coming from. This is a company that's formerly had to regain compliance from NASDAQ after falling out of compliance from the minimum bid price. I think it may have been the minimum value amount as well. But anyway, this is regaining compliance. It looks like it's turning things around. I think that's where the money is probably coming from. As far as the chart goes, seems like we're having a hard time getting over and closing over 135. Don't see anything in the way, really. There's a much larger seller at 150, but we are getting a little bit extended here. So I would say that if we can, hold above VWAP, there's a good shot of us trying to push higher. But we're starting to. It looks like we're losing a little bit of volume here in the pre-market. So.
Real quick here, this thing did a 1-for-16 reverse split at the end of September. That's September 23rd. Yeah. The only reason I realized that is because I think we talked about this probably on that day or close Possibly. To. I have an existing trend line on here that originates July 24th, 2025 through that split day that we just talked about. So to me, I think that we've kind of looked at this before. If we it's worth noting, this thing has done nothing but leak since then. So I'm not sure that anything's going to change it here, but that's what's going on.
Well, that's part of the NASDAQ recompliance. They probably had a very large share structure, so they reverse split. And then after they did that, they're like, oh, great, now we can raise capital. And so they did. But it was through convertibles. So yeah. They're just going through the motions. Here we are coming down to VWAP. Yep. Beneath VWAP, you have support at $1, and then $1, you have hell. So that's pretty much the levels you got there for FTEL.
Okay, good breakdown there. Good stuff. Probably we'll avoid that one. All right, next here is going to be Kala Bio, Kala, that is. I know we've traded this one before. The ticker is familiar. Kala Bio enters into a $6 million securities purchase agreement with investor David Lazar. This did pop up to 150, came back and actually tried to recapture the VWAP, did not have strength to do that. So that's going to be on deck here. Possible move through VWAP. Maybe we can challenge some of those highs. Quick look around the horn on this one, 12.35% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.7 million shares. It's done 35 million today. Float here is 5.63 million. This is a biopharma company, a clinical stage biopharma company dedicated to researching, developing, and commercializing therapies for rare and severe eye diseases. Ugh, stuff gives me the willies. Anyway, that's what the company does. Here's the news. What do you think of the chart?
Well, do you remember that name, David Lazar? I don't remember if it was this company, but well, I recognize that name. And he did something very similar with the last time that he was dealing with a company like this.
The problem with this is that every time I hear Lazar, I think of Bob Lazar and I think about UFOs, and this has no relation to that.
Well, yeah, probably not. But,
that's my problem.
Still, it's interesting because I don't remember if this was the same company that we kept seeing David Lazar involved with, but now he's the CEO of this. So make of that what you will. Because I remember we joked last time about how you can just buy your way into a company, and that's what he seems to be doing. In any event, I didn't look too much beyond that. I was about to jump on here. Float's 5.6 million. No real short interest here. Financials, this company loses 7.5 million a quarter based on the last quarter, but it has 21 million in the bank. The chart right now, we're holding above VWAP, and we're trading into a symmetrical triangle. It's what we want to see out of this is a breakout of this symmetrical triangle. So, I mean, if you were to look at a 5-minute chart, for example, and draw a trend line on both the bottom and the top, this is the area we're trying to break out of. Now, you got some support down at the bottom end of the triangle where the 65 EMA is, and then you have VWAP currently providing support. As long as VWAP continues to provide support, it looks like we're going to have a possible breakout of this symmetrical triangle to the upside. If that happens, the big area from here that I think we need to clear is going to be 130. Last time we popped up to that level after testing the 65 EMA, we only had one close, immediately rejected thereafter. No, and every attempt since then has been fruitless to get back above 130. So that's the area I'd be looking at.
Okay, good stuff there on Kala, Kala. Day trader here mentioning ONDS news. Let's take a look. There wasn't any prior to me starting the show, but let's see what's going on here. So first of all, Ondas was a little bit weak in the pre-market here. It looks like it's trading higher on volume, so that's good. Let's take a look at the news feed and break this down. Ondas secures an additional $8.2 million counter UAS order. This is exactly the type of news that we want to see. It's second in the past 2 weeks to protect another major European international airport. Boy, we talked about this as a theme. We talked about this as repeatable revenue. We talked about this as a potential expansion of their revenue that we wanted to see move to the bottom line. All of this seems pretty good here on this. Day trader mentioning that they had tweeted out some news here earlier. I do, of course, follow Eric, who was kind enough to join us on the show here. He does say, proud to see some momentum building for Ondas and the broader counter UAS market, repeat orders, expanding airport deployments, and rising demand for autonomous low collateral solutions all point to a clear trend. The world needs more reliable defense. Looks like we're getting some interesting gifts here. Comments always are entertaining. Anyway, looks pretty good. We'll see if Ondas trades up here today. It's actually still red in the pre-market. It closed at 790 on Friday. It's currently at 783 here today. So down just about 1%, but this reads well. I'll go through the PR and see if there's any other gems I can uncover. A day trader here saying Ondas as a SaaS. Yo, if that happens, this stock goes much, much higher.
Okay. Back to the last ticker that we were looking at, because thanks to producer, I've been able to sniff this out. So
back to Kala?
Yeah. So he was saying that he thinks the other Lazar company is NBY, Nova Bay Pharmaceuticals. David Lazar resigns as CEO last October. Digging a little further, the exact same thing that happened today with Kala happened with NBY in August. Nova Bay Pharmaceuticals enters $6 million securities purchase agreement with investor David E. Lazar. And then they appointed him CEO. So, and then if you look at NBY, after he purchased, he became CEO and he purchased the securities. In September, the stock rallies. Okay. So, I don't know if we're going to see history repeat itself here, but they're going through all the same motions with Kala that he did with NBY. And 6 million securities purchase agreement, becomes CEO. Maybe Collis will rip from here.
Okay.
Just
Good.
saying.
Good sleuth in there. Good. That's why we bring you on here, 13. You just get it done.
Got to get producer in there too. He's the one that brought up the ticker, the correct ticker.
Producer is a G as well. So, okay, good. We'll keep an eye here on Kala. Actually, it looks like it's setting to maybe move through the VWAP. Okay, smash up the like for the producer and 13 combining to do some sleuthing and uncovering here for you folks.
That's
really good stuff. It makes the dream work or something. Okay, NCT, this is Interconnect Cayman. This I would be very skeptical of. Looks like this is a penny stock popping to dollar territory literally in the last several minutes while we were talking here. Intercon's Singapore subsidiary, Open Window, enters into a strategic partnership with Cinco International to deliver multi-year cash flow while expanding their shipping segment. Okay, well, that's what's popping it here. I'm going to remain skeptical, probably going to focus on some of these other stocks that we're taking a look at rather than this one. Quick peek at the short interest on it. 0.86% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average 100-day volume of about 200,000 shares. Today, we've done 2.2 million. Float is 4.24 million. Got anything on this one? This one, 13, I know it just started happening, so you probably didn't have enough time to do your sleuthing.
No, but let me just look at the chart and see if I can figure anything from looking at that. Okay, so 137 is where we went up to. We're still trying to hold above the VWAP right now. There's a large seller away at 121. That's it's getting chewed up right now, but might survive resistance. Let's see here. Just trying to get an idea of where some levels might be. So we're at what? Just under 120. Okay, so 125. Maybe more like 130 would be the next big resistance area, and then just above that you have the 65-day EMA at 138. If the price manages to move beyond that, I'd say 180 is going to be your next major resistance area, and if it does manage to get through that, we could see some pretty good price action from there up into the twos. Don't know how high this is going to go. If you want a stupid level for me, maybe 3 to 315. But for now, let's see if it can even clear that 65-day EMA, which is at 138.
Okay. All right. Really good breakdown there. Tara said, Ryan, you guys need to make it so that we have to hit like in order to see the chat or something. I think most everybody just forgets, but we love you guys. Well, Tara, we love you too. And thank you for the support. Forcing people to do that almost seems like a bridge too far, but maybe, producer, maybe you should look into some other options there. Appreciate it. I would love to be able to say that the like smashing grew naturally. That's just how good everything is. But John says the same thing. Great idea. I always just forget. I wonder if YouTube has that functionality. That sounds like homework for the producer. So thank you for giving him that. That is awesome. All right. 13, did you have anything else on the list here? WBuy, this is WeBuy Global. This is basically fading from the move on Friday. I didn't trade this on Friday. I don't know if you did.
I don't recall if I did or not. I know I traded a spaghetti as I like to do days, but no, I didn't. I don't think I did.
Okay.
I'm just trying to look and see if we're getting any recovery here in the SPY. It looks like we've been turning up for the past, I guess, hour or so.
A lot of penny stocks with news that are bumping them into dollar territory here today. I'm a little bit skeptical of that. But now with the SPY here, let me actually go back to that SPY chart. The one thing I did lead off with here is something that we had discussed in Happy Hour 13 about potential inflows as the first of the month here on December. Are you looking at the SPY chart and thinks that maybe we get a bounce or anything like that?
Well, we on Friday we broke through that downtrend that we've been in since coming off of the all-time high, and the area that we fell to and got support this morning was a previous all-time high from October 24th candle. That is at 678.47. So if we continue upwards here and open above 680, I think that would probably be bullish. I mean, we do want to see a back test of this trend line after we've closed over it once. Don't don't know if we want to see it so soon, but if we can get back above and hold above 680, we could certainly see some more upside later on today.
EKS, appreciate this. New PR here just now, or I guess 15 minutes ago. HPE simplifies and accelerates development of AI-ready data centers with secure AI factories powered by NVIDIA. So they're going to launch a new AI factory in Grenoble, France.
An AI factory?
AI Factory Lab is what EKS called it. I read you the PR there. They didn't use the same language. Maybe they did. Yeah, excuse me, they did. I beg your pardon. Secure AI factories.
And I guess I just want a little bit of clarity on what an AI factory is. I mean, is that where they train the models? Is that just a data center name? Like, what is an AI?
This is actually the first time I've read that term together.
Okay.
Or showcasing the strength to deliver a full stack AI infrastructure that provides enterprise AI factories at any scale with new innovations that deliver a greater range of performance and more diverse workloads than ever before.
Okay, AI factories are integrated.
The first AI factory lab to test and validate their sovereign AI factories. I mean, they don't really go into this a whole lot.
I know. I was just trying to explain what it was. AI factories are integrated industrial scale systems designed to automate the entire the AI development lifecycle, from processing raw data to training, deploying, and refining AI models.
Where is that in the PR?
It's not in the PR.
You just looked it up. Okay, yeah. Awesome. All right.
I wanted answers.
Accretive. Accretive. There we go. Words. They're using words. Yeah, they are. Indeed, they are. NVIDIA getting their pocket everywhere. Nokia, Synopsys, and now HPE on top of that. Okay. All right. Did you have anything else on the movers list that we didn't cover?
No, that was it.
Okay. I was going to say I didn't either. All of these look a little kind of crummy. I know we've talked a little bit about some of the inverse ETFs that we have been trading. RGTZ, probably the biggest one. PLTZ. I want to also suggest today MSTZ. So for any of you that might trade MicroStrategy, or if you're looking for maybe a trade here on the Bitcoin movement that we've seen recently, MSTZ might be a way to do that. I don't know that we've ever really talked about this one before. I haven't traded this, but something to keep an eye on. All right. What else do you want to do here today, 13? What else do you want to take a look at?
Well, no, I was just taking a look at Bitcoin since you were on the subject of it. Okay. I'm not necessarily convinced that we're turning around quite yet. Just the way that this price action we've been getting for the past 30 days has looked. I'd still think that 75 is going to be coming up. Still, okay, looks like 75 is going to happen to me.
So here's our chart. So basically, and I've got this line down here, this previous breakout level at 72. The top end of that is actually closer to 74. So your 75 would basically be a complete retracement of the move from Liberation Day.
Yeah.
If you get that, do you think you bounce from there? You don't think you maybe roll over and test some lower levels?
I think we could bounce. I don't know how high we're going to bounce from there, but I think that you'll see some support. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just wondering.
Maybe that trend line you have there gets back tested first, and then we go.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too.
This is bearish looking price action to me.
Yeah, it sure is. Now I don't know if you were familiar with this. Tom Lee said that this could be 100K by the end of the year. Like this is just kind of like a blip and might bounce in near term.
Could be, no guarantee.
I agree with you though. I mean, the overall look here is that this looks bearish.
Yeah, no,
and I don't feel like we've had any type of like flush, to use the term that has been coined on Happy Hour, a fill your diaper flush with Bitcoin yet. And I think I'd be more inclined to say that there's a prolonged bounce if we saw that. We just haven't yet. Well, so to your point, maybe we do that and flush down to 75.
I mean, it went from 100K down to 80 in the span of like a little more than a week. Okay. So to the idea of this being, what did he say, over 100K?
Yeah. He said it could recapture the 100K level by the end of this December.
Well, sure. Look how fast it fell, and it certainly could go back up that fast. Like I just said, it went from 100K to 80K in a week.
Day trader saying that the Bitcoin is setting up for a bear flag on the daily. The next stop would be 77K. That looks very in line with what you were saying. Marben here is yelling at the group saying Tom Lee is full of it. You know, I understand that. Tom Lee has been right more often than he's been wrong recently. It's time. Just give credit where credit is due. I don't disagree with you though. He's always bullish.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I was going to say, like the last explanation he gave for the reason why we had that market sell off, and he was trying to this might have happened. He was trying to blame it on this computer program that triggered a sell off, and I was like, yeah, that's not everything that happened. So I mean, he's right a lot, but I agree. He also kind of talks a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, and you mean bull as in like bullish. He's definitely viewed as a perma bull. That's completely fair. I wouldn't say that. Creation saying here could also drop to 25K by the end of the year. That I'll say no. I'll say no. He does that. That's not going to happen. It's not going to go to 25K this year. Kimmy's asking, being new here, Ryan, what is happy hour? So the program that we are using here, the software that I'm using here that I share every day is called Benzinga Pro. And one of the things that comes with Benzinga Pro, we do a meeting at the end of every market day, Monday through Thursday, called Happy Hour. And we basically just discuss anything regarding the market, factors affecting the market, what we think is going to happen, stock ideas. And a lot of the stuff that it's more of like a free form discussion because the market's closed. Everyone's just gone through their day. So we kind of just discuss different things and the conversation goes in its own directions. Very, very organic. It's only for Benzinga Pro paying customers.
Yeah, we discuss trade ideas, stock ideas, and there goes FTEL breaking out.
Okay.
We talk about markets, international markets, and it really does help navigate the nuances of trading these financial markets.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, 13, because one of the things that I think where Happy Hour has helped me the most is that, well, I think the biggest benefit for everybody is that it introduces you to new people who are trying to do the same thing that you're doing, and they will often, if not always, have a different background than myself. So for example, we have people of all different ages, obviously male and female, and then people from all over the world. We've had people join from Australia and many other places. And they give you this really kind of great perspective that you don't get on your own. And you certainly don't get watching television, even if it's just the financial news television. And to 13's point about some of the global macro stuff here, one of the gentlemen that is in Happy Hour actually lives in Asia and gives us insight into a lot of different happenings there. And I'll be honest, that is a primary source of news for me. I certainly value that higher than anything you would see on, CNN, NBC or Fox or whatever over here. And it's not to disparage those other companies. It's just, these are people with all of the BS, frankly, cut out and just giving you their opinion on what's happening. And you get a lot of really good information. So it's fun. I learn a lot from it, especially I learn the most about things that I don't really follow. Like I don't really follow Asian markets and European markets and all of that. But I get a really good update from the folks in Happy Hour that allows me to at least understand what's going on.
Kimmy, you can access it every day that we have it. We typically have it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And at the end of the day, like about 20 minutes before the end of the day, at the bottom of Benzinga Pro, there'll be a teal-looking banner that will come across. You can click that to sign up and for the Zoom meeting.
Yeah. So if you have the scrolling ticker bar at the bottom, that gets replaced with the teal bar that 13 is describing. If you are like me and you generally don't have this on because you're trying to save as much screen real estate as possible, the option is in the settings menu and it's at the bottom here called info bar. If you turn it on, you'll see that banner. If it's off, you obviously won't see it. Yep. Okay. Real good stuff. Where we're at 6 minutes till we open here.
I had a request to look at OLMA. Diamond Hotlines waiting every minute for this to fall. And I can understand why this thing has been very extended. We have a 90 RSI on the daily chart. Looking to the left here, this area of consolidation back from 2021 is the area in question that it's dealing with right now. It looks like $30 is a big resistance area, but I could also see this still peaking above $30 and maybe finding some resistance somewhere between 30 and 32. Don't think that there's going to be a whole lot more upside from there. Now, I don't know enough about this company to know if there's actually something more that's driving this higher. That's going to completely invalidate those resistance areas, but that's the resistance I'd be looking at is 30 to 32. And we're just, I think the highs we've made here is just shy of 30. So if we can't get, if we can't hold above, I'd say 2750, I think you might be able to, consider that the beginning of your downside move. Looks to me like 2750 is the next big support area that you have based on the daily chart. Hopefully that helps. I don't know when this is going to come back in. I agree that it certainly looks like it's ready to. I mean, it's very extended. Just what's going to cause the completely come in? I don't know, but let's see what happens around 2750 if it can even get that support.
Okay. Yassine saying, is Bitcoin 75K still a support? I think so. I think it's more of a range, probably 74 to 77 if I had to revise that a little bit. But yeah, absolutely 75K. AHMA, Tara, we did take a look at that. Did that make another move since we looked at it before?
Of course it did.
Yes, it did. We were looking at it right in here, right? So it did pop, take out those highs, rolled back over, held the VWAP. This actually might be setting up to move higher here, 13.
Yeah, so
while you break this down, let me actually step away, BRB.
Okay, so 1333, that's where it ended up running up to just actually not too long after we stopped looking at it. So this $13, maybe even $12.75 to 13 area, that seems to be the big resistance for the stock at the moment. Now the momentum has swung the other direction. It's looking like it could continue selling off if we lose this VWAP. Right now, it's trying to recapture the trend line we had drawn earlier. I don't think he has it on that chart, but he had it on another one. So if you can get back above this trend line, which I have at about $11 right now, if we can recapture that and start closing above it into the open here, might be able to breach 1330 again. There's a bit of a small trend line there we could even draw. Give us an idea where that might run to out of the open. So that could go, and it'd still be in the 13 handle, but closer to 14 out of the gate here if we do recapture the 11. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at here with AHMA. And remember, there's like no news on this. This is very, very speculative as to why it's moving. I don't think we've gotten any news since we looked at it. Nope. So, and this is all on the thought of an event happening in Dubai this weekend or this week. So we'll see if we end up getting that. As long as we hold VWAP and we can take out 11, we might get that 13 plus print. But remember, the momentum is swinging to the downside, so we're going to need to see some more volume.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Grim Biscuit, it's trading Kala. Well done.
Did that make another move since we initially looked at it? Good stuff, Crimpet. Are we due for a register ring here?
Oh,
looks like we are.
So we got a break out of that symmetrical triangle, but we didn't, go on a bit of a run. Let me see what this looks like on my chart here. Okay. So we got a breakout like 20 minutes ago, and now we're running up into resistance at 140. There's also resistance at 150 from those previous highs. This looks like it's trying to get back up over those 151 highs.
Yeah,
I wouldn't take this off my screen or my radar. To see what this does out of the open. It might initially sell off, but if it gets support from VWAP, then I think this could turn around.
Of all of the smaller ones, this one seems like it's best positioned, at least from looking at the chart here. Really quickly, we did have our poll results in Uber versus Waymo. 40% of you said a mix of both. 37% of you said Uber, I want the driver, and 23% of you said Waymo, I don't mind being autonomous. So I think the most interesting thing there is that a mix of them both. You want both of them out there. It seems to me like the primary thing there is a shorter wait or less of a wait and a for your ride share. So that Okay, I guess I'm surprised a little bit by that, but good stuff nonetheless. Good idea, producer, on that poll.
Now, do you have to tip Waymo?
I would not tip a robot. No.
So I guess that's another appealing thing about it, is that you are not having to be obligated to tip a robot.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Austin has a Waymo about every 3 cars on the road. Okay. Dang. That seems like a lot, but okay.
We're really diving into the autonomous thing out here in Texas. I mean, remember that Aurora company, that Aurora trucking company, ticker AUR? By the way, we're open.
Yeah, that's what that's what I was watching it here. We are open here. Let's see. AHMA, that is trying to trade up, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Looks like it's trying to get back over that. There's 11.
Sure does.
Trying to get up to that 13. Got rejected at 11. So still in this, trying to get and hold above 11 still. But if we manage to close above 11 in this current candle, we're going to be wanting to look for that 13 print. Let's be careful, because this is it's kind of whipsawing around here.
Yeah, I was going to say, this thing actually looks like a whipsaw, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Just be careful.
Okay, I scalped it once there, so we'll see. Cal is going here too. Maybe I'll take a look at this. Maybe I need to put both up on my screen and pick the better one. Let's see. AHMA, H&H Tactical said this is already a nice profitable scalp. Here we go. Yeah. This is going here. 1150 actually looks like, but I tell you what, I'm seeing like size flash on the screen here, but it keeps getting eaten.
AHMA. We'll see. Just be careful with this one, because this does have no news.
Yeah.
And it looked like out of the gate here, it was about to go lower. It's trying to not do that, but if I would just kind of scalp this thing. Maybe it does, close over 11 and we get that movement up, but I just want to make sure that everybody's being careful with this. Now look at call it. That's pulling out of the gate here after popping initially. But if this can hold the trend line that we just moved over about 20 minutes ago, then I'd say this could gear up for some more upside. Remember, this is the David Lazar one. So if it's going to be anything like NBY, we're going to see this thing, do really, really well, and then he'll resign as CEO and take his gains, just like he did with NBY.
Okay, that's something interesting there. Okay, KALA, this pulled back down to the VWAP. We'll see if it gets another bounce there. That was an kind of a pull after that. Ondas pulling after its good news here.
QTTB.
Which one? QTTB. Let me bring that up.
That's moving up out of the gate here. This one you could also put an upward trend line on from the price action on the pre-market as an area to shoot for.
Yeah, let me do that.
That puts it at about 570. About 570 is where the price could go to based on this trend line. So that's another dollar away. Looks like we're getting a little bit of recovery in Kala. FTEL is all, this is back and forth. Currently above VWAP right now, but getting some resistance in the 130s. And then let's take this off. And then let's see here. What else?
Kala's battling right at its VWAP here at 130, it looks like.
And then you are getting some more pull on that AHMA. I'm just going to call it AMA because it's easier to say.
Yeah, no, I get you.
And now we're losing VWAP. So like I said, just be very, very careful with this. It's on no news. And I don't know what's going to keep this thing going up. So
Jensen Wong on CNBC talking about the $2 billion stake in Synopsys right now, by the way. That was a really good call there on AMA to be careful, because I'll tell you what, this jostling back and forth, if you're scalping or you're looking for short-term trades and you have tight stops, that's a way to really kind of get chopped up there. That was a good warning on that. Kala so far still holding 129, and NVIDIA popping up out of the gate here. I haven't seen anything notable on the options yet, but this is maybe going to fill this gap here and go red to green.
QTTB is still trying to push higher. SMX from last week just had a massive knife out of the gate there.
I'm not surprised. I couldn't believe that this thing traded as high as it did. That's what I get for saying be careful with some of these names, only to watch them go 100% from when I say that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, look at the move that this thing made on Friday. This was the turkey crack play, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
This was the turkey crack play without a doubt. You see this thing's coming in now.
Yeah, a lot of okay. So QTTB looks like that's one of the better ones right now. AHMA is going back and forth between red and green. FTEL kind of doing the same, also trying to recapture the VWAP. Kala is us doing the same thing, trying to stay above VWAP, also whipping around. But this one looks like it's trying to push higher. Resistance at 140 so far.
I'm sorry for laughing and interrupting you. H&H Tactical saying, Ryan, keyword be careful actually equals full send, which is sometimes what I'm worried about. That's rather entertaining. Blessed Trader here. Hey, Ryan, do you like CNBC or MSNBC for your news? And what is the difference? So for news, I don't watch any TV. I think it's all garbage. And as far as MSNBC goes, I think that's an anti-American company that I would never support. Sorry. Really quickly though, as far as like having background news during the trading day, I do prefer CNBC for a couple of reasons. Number one, I prefer the personalities, including those that I don't agree with. I actually think that a lot of the people that show up there are quite educated, even if they feel differently from me. So I like to take something from that. The other thing about CNBC, they legit get a lot of good guests. I'm someone that likes hearing from the source, but I think the question that you're going for here, please understand that the way I view it, when I see something on news on TV, whether it's CNBC, MSNBC, Fox, or any news station you pick, when I see it on TV, I feel like it's late. I feel like our group has either discussed it or something within the market has told us that this is already happening, and I kind of feel like that's a little bit late.
Yep.
So I don't actually take trades from the news.
QTTB moving. AHMA still not able to recapture that trend line. FTIL still trying to hold above VWAP. Kala is hopefully not putting in a series of upper shadows. That'd be unfortunate. It is trying to push higher though. And to your point about watching, like I personally like to read the news. I find that I retain the information better if I'm reading. And
QTTB going for the trend line. I'm sorry for interrupting, but it kept going.
And at the same time, when I'm writing things down, I also tend to retain them a lot better as well. So maybe that's something that some folks might want to do instead of watching TV is just reading and writing. That I feel you retain the information a lot better that way.
I completely agree. And actually, one of the things that I've started to do recently from you, 13, is that when I watch some of these YouTube videos, in particular the ones that move quickly through them, I will occasionally jot down notes for things that I found interesting or things that I didn't know enough about, and then I go back and supplement by reading. So again, when it comes to watching, I pretty much don't. The only news channel that gets turned on in my home is CNBC, and it's more for kind of background interview noise than actually extracting news. Otherwise, 13, I think that you broke that down the best. I prefer reading it. I think that whatever it is, I think that my understanding of it is greater when I read it than when I listen to someone dictate it on television. But good question nonetheless. Okay.
We're getting Kala moving up a little bit higher right now. Looks like this wants to come up to 150, and if it does, there's a large seller in the way. Josh asking, can I give a quick Eli 5 on upper shadows? Really what I'm referring to with upper shadows is a series of candles, typically 3 right next to each other, that have long top wicks. It is indicating, and this usually happens at the end of an uptrend. You start to see a lot of price action, unable to push higher further. And you get a whole series of these of wicks, these really long wicks and candles right next to each other, and indicating a short-term top. And that's what I'm referring to as upper shadows. When you get a series of those, it almost always, not every time, but almost always, precludes a drop to the downside. So it's something I'm watching out for when we're seeing these upside price action. Look at Amazon go.
Look, Amazon, I'll tell you what, and I mean, part of me looks at this happening on Cyber Monday and thinks this is a no-brainer. But nonetheless, weakness in the pre-market here, immediate red to green move here on Amazon. I wonder where Izzy's at. This would have been a pretty nice dip buy. This thing's going here. I also noticed at the same time, Tesla traded up out of the open, and I did see a couple of unusual option trades here for Tesla. Looks like Google calls are also getting bought here. So it looks like some of these bigger names having a pretty good day here. Tell you what, Amazon to 240 looks like that might be on deck here today if this continues.
You had a great call about NTC because that has done nothing but go straight down back to the starting point. This is the Intercont Limited Cayman stock. Lost $1, and now it's in hell.
Okay. NFE, this is another one of the movers. New Fortress Energy, this is slipping a little bit out of the gate here. Ondas pulled, immediately took 8 and is pulling back to VWAP. So Ondas action actually looks all right here today early. Looks like it's pulling again. All I had to do was start talking about it, 13. Look at this. This is right when I started talking about it. Perfect.
Excellent. So, folks at home, every time Ryan starts talking about a stock, even if it's his favorite,
I mean,
get your buying fingers ready because you're going to want to click that. I'm just kidding. But KALA, this ran up to almost 150, pulling back to the VWAP right now. And meanwhile, we have some other names that are doing some things like AMA is losing. It's testing the. I don't even say testing. It's getting support from the 15 EMA. If it loses this, I think we could be in for quite a fall.
A lot of strength here early. Apple, I was just checking Apple a second ago. That's the weakest. Tenzin, I know that you were looking for trade here, testing an Apple call here. So I think maybe you think Apple's going to go higher here with some of the rest of the strength that we're seeing in tech. It is worth noting that Tesla sold from that 432 high, so that actually already pulled back 5 points here. Shopify, I'm seeing a number of put sweeps here on Shopify. This is a little bit weak in the pre-market, down 4%. Looks like that initial bounce was sold into.
Walmart, new all-time highs.
Shopify President Harley Finkelstein announced on Sunday, Shopify merchants did $6.2 billion in total sales, which was up 25% year over year. So I wonder then, there was definitely good Black Friday news. I highlighted it in the news portion of the show here today. Some of these might be looking like, I guess, to sell the news on some of that. Shopify certainly feels like that. Amazon, I know it's pulled off its high, but that's still strong here. PayPal also strong this morning. That's never strong.
Yeah, Best Buy is not having the best day. I don't know if this is necessarily a buying opportunity. It might be, but I don't know what the Black Friday traffic was like for this. And this is a gap down. What's up?
So I don't know what the Black Friday traffic was for Best Buy specifically, but one of the overall trends that I read, 13, was that online was far stronger than in person. I was personally surprised by the number of anecdotal stories that I heard from people in my ecosystem that actually went to stores. And with TVs and computer parts being one of the top items that people are after, Best Buy was on that list. Obviously, stock a little weak here, minus 2.3%.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure what to say about Best Buy. I don't want to tell you, oh yeah, this is a great spot to buy, and then have it completely lose the 200-day SMA and go down further. There's a trend line on the bottom that I think I would just be keeping an eye on. If we lose this trend line and shortly after that the 200-day SMA, this is probably going to be going much lower. But this is the trend line I'd be looking for support. If we reverse off of it or near it, then that might be your opportunity to buy. I'm just not sure.
Is it the one that originates on August 1st here?
I started at the
I guess, yeah, you could know. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even look back far enough. Shame on me, 13. Here, let me draw this a little bit cleaner here. There you go. There's your trend line.
And while you're doing that, I have two updates here. QTTB ran up to the trend line, and we hit it. AHMA is halted to the downside, so hopefully, everybody was.
Look at this.
And then we also had Kala go right up to the 150 area and get rejected. So everything that we've been looking at so far has pretty much done what we've been saying.
Yeah. Real quick here. Yes, Izzy, I can see your text. Bird Dog, you've posted the same copy pasta spam in all caps 3 times now with no other comment. I'm going to assume that you are a spammer, but I'm not going to put you in permanent blockage. I'm just going to time you out. Hopefully you will change your behavior. See ya. Izzy, I can see your text. What do you think about Amazon? And 13, I'm sorry, this QTTB move here, this right to the trend line, really great target. That's definitely going to get a register ring here. Awesome stuff out of the gate. Calla pulled off the pre-market high at 151.
Oh, Brian killed it in the QTTB. Well done. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
513 to 579 and out, felt good. Register ring for Bry Guy. And then, AHMA, this was halted to the downside in single digits. So 13, your warning about being careful there hopefully was heeded. I know I traded that real quick out of the gate just because it was moving so good, but I was going to be short on that anyway. SMX halted to the upside at exactly $50. This was after pulling. Good mention, Live to Trade. And Calla back on now, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I was trying to get this in there when we were talking about Best Buy 13. I've ran you over like 4 times. I'm sorry. Best Buy was apparently packed for Black Friday, or at least Thino's Best Buy was packed.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a good buy, but I just don't. I would need to see some more support with the current price action it's getting. Now, Calla, I don't know that the David Lazar trade is. That's what I'm gonna call it, David Lazar trade. I don't know that it's gonna work exactly like it did with NBY, but it might. So if you're a believer that in David Lazar, then this is gonna go higher.
MSTR, this flashed lower and is bouncing here. It might be worth watching MSTR for when this bounce subsides. MSTZ would be the play there. MSTZ has pulled 50 cents off its intraday high right down to the VWAP right here at 1520. That's MSTZ as the trading instrument. If this bounce here on MSTR starts to slow down, this is at a possible resistance area. If this wants to test lower, there might be a trade setting up right now, MSTZ. Got a couple of penny stocks at the top of the list here. I'm not going to click on those.
If Bitcoin can hold above 85K, we could see a reversal tomorrow. That would take it back up towards 90,000, but I don't know how much higher it's going to go beyond that.
I kept calling you Thino, and I should be calling you the noob lander, the noob. See, I'm such a positive person that I didn't even read it like that, but that's clearly what your name is. Thank you for drawing me a damn map. Now, at least I can pronounce it correctly.
Thino's not a bad name either. I kind of like it.
I mean, I thought it was kind of cool. NVIDIA red to green move. Yassine, is that continuing? I almost wonder if that's going to bode for more strength across some of the mega cap tech names. Also worth noting, SPY and NASDAQ looking like they both want to move higher here. Dow seems to be leading the way. Here you go on NVIDIA, red to green. Absolutely. So I think we're going to have some more here. Sorry, 13.
QTTB hit $6, kind of backed off a little bit. There's a large seller in the way. Now, folks, if this goes on a run beyond the trend line, I would caution to not get tempted to jump into this thing while it's making new highs. If you've already traded this and you had a great trade, let's not give these things back. So let's wait for it to provide a setup if it does. Right now, I don't think we're going to want to buy up here. I think that this could still come back in a little bit more before it finds its footing. I would even think that maybe 5 now is a support area now that we've started closing above it. So that would also make VWAP a potential support area as well. Thino is a new name, dubbed Thino by Investor Lord Ryan.
So Investor Lord. So LOL on the joke. You guys might hear some of my coworkers address me as Lord Ryan, and I don't want you guys to be weirded out by that. There's a legitimate reason for that. I actually did purchase land in Scotland in order to get that Lord title. So it's not just complete baloney. Just saying there. And if I need to produce the certification, I will.
AHMA is recovering. Just be careful if you're going to trade this. It's already likely hurt people once this morning. But it does have an interesting trend line off the highs. So if it can recapture VWAP, then I still think that $11 is probably going to be your big resistance area, your big breakout area. That's kind of where it's been getting resistance anyway. you've had a couple of 5-minute candles trade up above 11, but not close. And then we went to the downside. Now we're trying to come back up above VWAP. I still think 11 is a big resistance area.
Okay.
My lord. Nice. Nathan, I think that's what he's referring to. Is somebody bought him one of those little was it like a square meter?
Here, I'll since you guys are asking, I'll explain it here real quick, just so you guys can all understand what's going on here. Here's what we're talking about. This is where this all comes from. And just again, just to be clear here, I don't make anybody do this. It's just kind of a thing. Indeed. Here is the certification. Now, I bought a 5x5 plot, not a 1x1 plot. So I don't know.
Meters or feet?
I believe it's feet.
Yep, square feet.
Yeah, square feet. So it's legit. It's official. It is what it is. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Didn't come from nothing here. Oh, by the way, we talked about Kramer getting wrecked. Here's something for you. Take that, Jim Cramer. Take that. Take that, baby. Take that tweet and stuff it. All right. Let's get back to action here.
Yes, Hand Tactical, they did halt AHMA a little while back, but now it's open again. Still trying to get back above 11.
It's still showing weakness, though?
It's still showing like 11's a tough spot for it. We would need to see a lot more volume to get through 11, I would think. Kala still having a hard time getting above 150 and closing above 150. We've had it looks like we've had slight prints above it, like decimals above 150. But
real quick here with this AHMA that we were talking about, this is now the action here has now setting up a trend line. So we'll see if this ends up snapping this, but so far we're pulling off of that. Were you looking at KTTA or QTTB?
I'm looking at all of these right now.
Okay.
It looks like we're starting to get some weakness in some of these names. QTTB, first, we're seeing some redness for the first time this morning. We'll see how this closes in 3 minutes. AHMA still, not able to get above $11 despite printing above it. It's getting rejected at that level now. KALA, this is still having a hard time with 150, and this looks like it could be setting up another series of upper shadows. And if this does end up losing the VWAP here, I would think that we are coming down to at least 130.
Okay, this 150 double top seems to be the area that might still fall here. We'll see. Lion here saying Amazon looks like it wants to run up. Izzy, Lion, where do you guys think a short-term Amazon upside target belongs? I will say, kind of looking at this intraday action, this does kind of feel poppy to me. I would like to see maybe the volume kind of flood in here a little bit. I know we had inflows here today. Market looking good right now. Qs, Dow, and SPY all at the highs. Where do you think Amazon could go here? What kind of upside short-term target are we looking at? Lion, I think you have a long-term view on Amazon, right? But I guess I'm just looking for short-term levels. Izzy here saying scalp 2 times on Amazon. I'm not surprised. Izzy, what's the buy area on Amazon? I don't think we get down to 232. Is 233 a buyable spot? You'll have to let me know on that one.
Yeah, I don't think the buy spot's here. I don't either. I wouldn't be buying here.
Unless you think that this is just compressing to make that up move, I don't think a buy here is the right move.
No. Today we're getting a rejection from the 20-day SMA. If this loses 230, I think we're going lower. I don't like the way that this price action looks over the past half month. If we can't get above the 20-day SMA soon, I think we're going lower. I think we're going to be wanting to pay attention to the 50-day SMA.
Okay, and on the other side of that line here saying, I think Amazon 250 by the year end. So in the next month here, a 15-point move to the upside. All right, Bird Dog's back. Didn't learn his lesson. Bird Dog, I'm sorry, man. Don't let the good Lord, or don't let the door hit you where the good Lord has split you. See you later. Marcus mentioning that D-Pro is going to fly. So this is one of our drone plays here. Dragonfly. What's that doing here today? And did that have news? Okay, so that looks like that initial dip there got bought. Still kind of in a downtrend here, though. Let me see if there was news on this. Then I might have to refresh Pro here.
AHMA finally getting that volume that took it through 11. It's going to halt to the upside, or it might. No, there it goes. Keep going.
Nothing fresh there on D-Pro, by the way. Here, let me refresh this, and then I'll go back to whatever stock we're looking at. Can you give your followers knighthood? Unfortunately, I can't. I think I needed the 10 by 10 plot to be able to do that.
But he can call you peasant.
Just kidding.
All right, now it's halted. AHMA. So I would, I think if we get a move out of the halt here, 1250 is going to be one area.
Wow.
But the trend line that we drew on the top from the 835 high and then the 1333 high, that trend line there would give me the next target of where the price could go to. And that's going to be about 1450 from here.
I'll tell you what, this thing's all over the map.
Mm-hmm.
All over the map here. I have a tough time right now looking at this break through the trend line. Maybe these are famous last words, but I feel like this is setting up for a move higher out of that halt.
Yeah, and it certainly looks like it could be. I'm not going to take a position into this halt, but if you had this before, it went into a halt, you're probably going to see slightly higher prints, maybe even 12 before it starts having sellers come in. I don't know where this is going to go out of the halt, but I have a couple of areas.
Okay.
So you've got 11 as the support, and VWAP beneath that to the upside, it's 1250 and 1450.
CoreWeave here. So Bharat, I know that you were shorting CoreWeave. Man, that trade looked pretty good early here. CoreWeave, big bounce. To your point about did Jensen say anything? Again, he was on CNBC. I didn't see any big Chiron get placed there. I didn't see any breaking news being alluded to or surfaced with that interview. I also don't see anything in the newsfeed. I can tell you for sure that if something big was coming out of that, our team would have been all over it. I don't know if he said anything here about CoreWeave. But big bounce here. This is actually following the move in the market. This bounce here in CoreWeave, we're seeing this across the SPY and the NASDAQ, and we're actually seeing that across some individual names too. This looks exactly like the Netflix chart.
AJ, there's no news associated with why AHMA is moving.
Yeah.
But we have some speculative ideas as to why it is, and we think it's connected to some events happening in Dubai.
Yeah, this is the one that is in the UAE. Apparently there's a big F1 race that's going to decide the championship, and there might even be some controversy in there. I'm not going to pick a side, but that's going on here. I don't see anything fresh in this.
Kala, anyway. Putting up this is what the upper shadows look like, what I was referring to earlier. So Kala, 3 candles in a row here, wicks to some pretty long-sized wicks on the upside, indicating that sellers are keeping this from going beyond 150. We lost VWAP in the process. We're getting some support down around 130, but volume's waning, and if we can't recapture VWAP soon, I think that this comes in even more, maybe down to around 120, 115.
Yeah, Jeremy here saying F1 this weekend is a 3-way race for the championship. And isn't this the place where Verstappen won his first ever title? And there was controversy about that. So it's Piastri, Lando Norris, and Verstappen, I believe.
QTTB had a pop through that trend line and then came right back in thereafter. 637 now the new high for QTTB.
Apple is bouncing, Tenzin. We'll see if that can really clear out 278. That seems to be the intraday spot stopping it here today. AHMA is still halted. Palantir traded up to 168 out of the gate. I wonder if it finds resistance there. That might make for a PLTZ trade. How about Rigetti? What's Rigetti doing? What are the quantum names doing here today?
Yeah, so fine. I get that. if this doesn't fit, your criteria for a trade, and if we need news, then absolutely do not try to force a trade on this. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You go ahead. I was
going to say, I was going to further steelman that by saying pretty much any of these movers that we see that have no news associated with them, I am far less likely to let that stock run. If I get gains, if I'm like looking at a chart and it moves through and it looks like the volume is expanding and it moves through the VWAP or something like that, or it moves off a support level, I might trade it, which was the case here with AHMA today. But I'm not going to sit around. I don't know that catalyst, I don't know if it's going to turn into a crazy upside haul fest. So to your point about having a stock with no news catalyst here, I'm out of those much, much quicker if that's the case.
Yeah, I had a quick trade in AHMA out of the gate, and I haven't touched it since.
Yep.
I don't plan to.
Yep.
It could go on a run. It could go blast past 1333, and I'd be like, "Well, have fun," because I don't want to get caught in that thing.
That's the thing. I guess when you get caught in some of these junky names enough, you just get tired of that, and you swear to yourself, "I don't want to do that again," which I totally get.
You come back to following your rules a lot more because you'll find that they work out much better than just trying to take a chance on things.
Absolutely. By the way, QTTB here peaked above the trend line and the $6 level, but came back in.
Yep.
13. I don't know about you, but doesn't this need to really kind of get above and hold? Otherwise, this is really kind of risking a pullback here.
Yeah, and the thing that I'd be concerned about is whether or not this can hold above VWAP. Now that's down at 531. That's what I have. But if we start trading down there and we lose that level, then we're probably going to see some more downside. Kala also, this is still coming in lower, getting some support from the sideways consolidation that we had in the pre-market, but volume is really leaving this the stock. So I'm not really confident that we're going to see a whole lot of upside unless the volume comes back in. Let's see here. Aside from those, not a whole lot looks to be going on. It looks like FTEL is trying to recover, but that's still beneath VWAP. NCT, the one that the Cayman Islands one, this is actually going to start trading beneath the pre-market lows. We're losing, we're coming down to some early November levels now with NCT. This is a great short, but I don't know that anybody took it.
Chipotle continuing its move here. Lion, that was really good timed. Chipotle has been great. The noob obviously has been eating here quite a bit, so he's doing his part. Really good stuff. You love to see that. I'll tell you what, though, Lion, from the move here on Tuesday of last week, this has been good. We haven't seen a move like this in Chipotle, I feel like, in some time. This is multiple days in a row where there's strength. We are in the gap now. And this gap, by the way, fills at 39.80.
Take care, Kimmy.
Take care of yourself, Kimmy. I think it's super late there. It might be close to the middle of the night there. She's on the other side of the world. Actually, I think it's Tuesday there.
Already. All right.
Oh, no, it would be Monday night if she's talking about going to sleep. Not quite Tuesday yet. Take care of yourself, Kimmy.
The only thing that I'm kind of waiting to see what happens is for AMA to unhalt. I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. Other than that, I'm not really trading anything right now. I had some good trades in QTTB and AMA this morning. I haven't really touched anything else. Not a bad morning. IVDA, says Wes. What's this about? IVDA Solutions. This is up 25%. Looks like this is... Oh, it regained NASDAQ compliance. It's so funny to me when we get these NASDAQ recompliance stocks and they just rip. Hey, we're going to be on the market for longer, so let's buy it. It's funny to me. Thanks for mentioning that, was Fly, Flye.
Sorry, I was distracted there because one of my coworkers actually linked a grandma's boy clip in the work chat. And anytime that happens, that's a positive. So excited there. Kala, by the way, that might be done. That is breaking away to the downside now. Kala, big pull and a move through the VWAP. This is back down to pre-market support levels.
Did Fly reverse split recently? Because I'm seeing a short percent of float being almost 100%.
Now, is that FLYE, the Fly
Yes.
E group that Kathy's talking about?
Yes, that's what I'm looking at because she brought it up. Yep.
November 4th, we had a 1 for 20 reverse.
Okay. That answers the question about the short interest. Don't know why this is moving up. This company delayed its quarterly report. Let me look at the daily chart. I'm sure that this had a nasty drop earlier. Well, yeah, it's had a series of them actually. So first one was back in 2024, last year in July. That was a massive drop, and then they reverse split. So the company was never at $600, but the reverse split made it so. And then we also had another drop here in August on the 15th of this year. Wonder if that was earnings. Let's take a look. And looks like it was before earnings. Earnings was on August 19th. So I'd have to look and see what this other news was on the 15th here.
Really quickly, 13 AHMA has opened, went higher above 14, pulled a little bit, but is not yet breaking down. I'll keep you posted if that changes.
Okay, so that kind of ended up happening with what we were looking at. Actually, where did that go to my trend line? Not quite. My trend line was, I was looking for like 1450. We got 1417. So we'll see if it ends up getting up there. But FLYE, this was a bear cave warning of a pump and dump scheme with the Fly Group. So that's why you got that big down move on the 15th ahead of their earnings. So be careful with this one.
Here we go. AHMA 14 bust. Looks like we're going to try for higher here. 1417 is the high print. We'll see if that gets taken out. And I love the energy here. The folks that know Grandma's Boy one-liners. I mean, that movie, let me tell you something. That's got a bunch of, I still use some of those here today. New high score. What does new high score mean? Is that bad? What does that mean?
Did I break it?
Did I break it? I mean, it's just so good.
You'd understand if you have robot legs or robot ears or whatever.
How can they see me? It's robot legs. He was thinking about getting his legs replaced with robot legs. So what if I don't know who invented the helicopter, even though I own one? Okay. I could do that all day. We're not going to do that. NVIDIA, by the way, that red to green move that we talked about earlier, the option buyers that were flowing in on that and are still flowing on that, NVIDIA higher. Day highs here now, 179 for NVIDIA. God, we're still kind of in this downtrend. Let me try and draw this trend line here. I'm going to cut that earnings thing off. Yeah, so we're still beneath this trend line here. I've got to think 180's got to be a pretty important spot there in NVIDIA. Call sweepers have been good on this name all day, though.
Fly Group. So just want to put a cap on this. Be careful. This has been warned by the bear cave that this is a pump and dump scheme. Looking at the chart, I can see why without even looking under the hood. Just be careful with this one if you're going to trade it. It looks like, I would say that if this gets up to $10, consider yourself lucky. I wouldn't be holding this beyond that price, to be honest. I just don't want to risk getting dumped on. I'll take the pump, but not the dump. Oh yes, Samel. We binge watched the entire Volume 1 when it came out. We had Stranger Things pizza, and everything was great. It was a wonderful time, and we're looking forward to Volume 2 this month.
So let me ask you: does that give you any view on Netflix as a stock here? I'm gonna connect some of these trend lines here real quick. I'm gonna give us a target if Netflix turns around here. What does that make you think of the stock? By the way, AHMA halted 1517 to the upside. Anyone who's been trading this one here today, that's new highs. You are in profit.
Yep. And this was whipping around here in this current candle, but this is a break over that 1450 area, and yeah, new highs. Just be careful. I'm going to keep saying it. Be careful. There's no news attached to this. It could continue to go up, but just, make sure you're paying yourself so you don't get caught when it comes back down. Because
Big Dave is doing exactly that. Out, made his quota. See you guys tomorrow. Big Dave, you enjoy the rest of your Cyber Monday, boss. What a day.
That's what I want to see. See, he did it right, folks. That's what we need to be doing.
Your top laggard in the S&P is SanDisk. SNDK down 11.5 points here today.
Netflix still kind of looks bearish to me, if I'm being honest.
There's still in a downtrend, very clearly.
Still in a downtrend. We have potential death cross happening here, which this one's going to carry a lot more weight because the golden cross that we got from this didn't happen. This happened back in November of 2022. We have been in a golden cross uptrend for over 3 years now. So we might be in a prolonged down, a death cross period too.
Real quick here, we talk a lot about the VIX and some of the different VIX levels. This is of note. We talked about it maybe bouncing if it went into that 16-17 handle. VIX low print from Friday was 1578. Now, it did bounce directly from that, but it actually rolled over and closed just above 16. It gapped up here this morning. It was hovering around 18. VIX has melted out of the open. Again, back down here, 17.25. I think if we get into a 16 handle, you might look for a possible VIX bounce there, which might coincide to a move down in the broader market.
I don't know about Disney booming. It's moved back over the 500-day SMA, but it's still got a lot of other resistance levels in the way before we're going to see some real upside. The fact that we lost the 200-day SMA and we haven't really recovered from that, it still looks like to me this could go lower. Let's see what happens at around 108. If it can't get above 108 and close, then I think we're going to turn around and go lower.
Producer mentioning MSTR here. Here's a look at the chart. MSTR, this might be rolling over here. So MSTZ, this is going to be the possible trade. This is what MSTZ looks like. Boy, I tell you what, as long as this stays above the VWAP here, might be some more room to the upside. And actually, this looks like this might be trying to go right now.
FTEL's trying to push up here into the area where it's getting resistance in the pre-market and the regular session here. Lots of sellers in the way from 130 all the way up to the 150s.
That was FTEL, right?
Yep. QTTB is trying to maintain its hold above VWAP. Volume continues to be less and less. Here we go. We're starting to get a little bit of a push up back towards the trend line. Let's see if it can get up there.
This looks like it bounced off the 15 EMA there. That's QTTB.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if we can get back up into the 6 area.
You guys saying someone might need to do a wellness check on Michael Saylor. I'll bring up the daily here for MSTR. Again, I just want to reiterate, I don't know what's going to happen with this. I'm not long MSTR, so not actually going to affect me here. But did it not pull up? What's going on? MSTR. But Saylor has said that Bitcoin can draw down 80-90%. His company is going to be okay. This, to me, sure looks like this is going to move lower. 13. I'm going to extend this range out here. I mean, realistically, what's stopping this thing from testing 100?
Well, no, I think that that range in there, I think the support's going to be somewhere in there.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying that it might test this entire range before it finally figures out a support.
Sure. Wouldn't surprise me. Looking at the SPY, this is still trying to make its way up towards the highs from Friday. And it looks like it's running into some resistance from some of the Friday levels. If you look on a smaller time frame, the 182 area, maybe slightly beneath that, 181.75 maybe. That seems to be the resistance area that the SPY is currently dealing with, and that's also being suppressed by some of the price action that we had on Friday. That's a resistance level. That 681, 682 area. It looks like right about 681.75 is the real resistance. So
yeah, and it looks like we've actually run into that resistance area right here. So okay,
AHMA is open. That popped up to 1690, and now it's back testing the trend line that we drew. And it's losing it now. Well, actually, no, it keeps going back and forth between above and beneath it.
Here you go. Here is your AHMA.
Just be very careful with this. And I know I keep saying that despite it running up more, but you got to look at the order book. This thing has a very large spread at times. It's usually between, like 20 cents to 75 cents that I'm seeing these spreads. So just be very careful if you're going to try and get into this thing.
Here's a victory lap for you. Lion is saying that Michael Saylor is probably saying, damn, I should have listened to Lion and bought more gold. Lion, I'm going to give you a one-up just for the joke because it's so good there. And by the way, MSTZ, so this actually looking like it might take out the day high there at 1577 and also the trend line. Let's see if we get that here. MSTZ.
Yeah, and
pounded more indeed, Izzy, and it sure looks like 85K probably in the cards here for Bitcoin.
Rigetti is also coming down. That means RGTZ is moving up.
Yes, it does.
If I could get this chart to show the daily price action of Rigetti, I could probably provide some levels here.
I'm interested in the entry levels for the inverse instrument more than anything else.
Okay.
Let's see this move in Bitcoin. The down move here might be slowing. I don't want to say that we're out of the woods yet, though.
I'm not.
New highs on MSTZ. Peel half of this here, put the other half on at break even, just in case it runs here. There's a little bit more. Awesome.
Looks like
that was a pretty decent trade.
There's a chart issue here. Thanks, TradeView.
Is it through Pro you're having that too? It
Yeah.
looks like I am too here. All right, let me see. If I can do anything here on this.
Okay, that looks like it's back now.
So I was going to say you know what? It looks like it's having. I'm going to try refreshing because it actually looks like it was having trouble loading historical candles, not the current ones.
AHMA still printing more highs, 1694 now the current high. Kala is trying to come back up and recapture VWAP. If it does, then if we do get above VWAP, I start closing above it, then we're going to want to see a break over 150. Large seller in the way at 140 for KALA. Gosh, it looks like Rigetti is about to lose a major trend support. On a day where tech is weak, this is a great trade, RGTZ.
So interestingly, my Apple chart is loading fine. Is it a specific chart that you're having trouble with, 13, or is it maybe just some of these?
It was Rigetti. I looked over at SPY. That was having trouble, but I refreshed, and I'm not having any issues right now.
Okay, so refresh seemed to have fixed it. I'm still having issues here.
And Rigetti is still climbing. Not sure what to make of AHMA. This, I mean, maybe this continues to squeeze or whatever. I mean, get bid up, pumped, whatever. I don't know where this party ends, but for me, it's already over. So if you're still trying this, have fun, but just be careful. It can come right back in really hard. Kind of like how it might be doing right now.
All right, let's look around here and see what else is going on. Charts seem to be okay. Looked like there was just some high latency, but the team seems to be on it, and mine are resolving. So you should be all right there, 13. Let me know if you have any other trouble.
Okay. QTTB, this is getting support from VWAP. It might be turning around here. See if we can get back up to 6. FTEL. Not able to go a whole lot higher than 135. Just had another knife right through VWAP. And it looks like KALA is going to also struggle with some upside here, trying to recapture the VWAP. The seller at 140 is still large and in charge.
Okay, so I guess I spoke too soon on the chart stuff. I'm working on that, though.
Okay.
What's cat doing?
What else are we looking at today, folks? Because it doesn't look like there's...
No, in fact, that market pump that we were just talking about kind of stalled right as we were talking about it. S&P backed off the 682 high, still holding 680 here. Dow actually pulled back.
So Ryan Summerall is mentioning that BMNR now holds 3% of all Ethereum.
Rough time for it to be your 5-minute candles. Okay, thank you, Frozen King. MSTZ, that is still working here, so that was all right. Start there.
One from Friday that was moving, actually from last week, that was having some pretty good upside. KTTA, that had a nice move out of the gate this morning after it dropped down to 118. We recovered, and it looks like it's trying to set up to go higher. Don't know how much we're going to get out of this one, but I thought it was interesting price action. I'm just looking at some of these other names, see if there's any potential reversals happening here.
I'm going to look through some of the news.
Because right now, maybe QTTB does something here pretty soon. I don't know. Lots of sellers in the way from the upside. AHMA starting to show some signs of weakness, but I don't know how far it's going to drop from here. Could come back all the way underneath VWAP. But support for this one is going to be around 1350, I think, if it does end up coming down there.
By the way, this MAIA, this is MAIA Biotech. This actually had a slew of Form 4s this morning. Open market purchases. The CEO bought 94,000 shares at an average price of $1.08. Stock's $1.42 here today. Board members acquired a total of 88,000 shares at the same average price. So a total of 182,445 shares were bought on the open market at 104, between 104 and 108. That's ticker MAIA. And that's news as of this morning here.
RGTZ been fantastic.
Again, huh?
Mm-hmm. Just had a nice rip there.
MSTZ 16s now. That was really good timing. Congrats to anyone that took that one. Market continues to pull. Now market, so the SPY's down 0.44% and the NASDAQ's down 0.55%. So we are pulling here, but not necessarily like a huge, oh crap move, if you will.
AMA is still getting support from the trend line that we drew. It's trying to come back up into 17. I just don't know. I'm going to keep mentioning what I see with this, but this is a very illiquid name. It could, you could see big outsized move in either direction at this point. We already got the outsized move to the upside that resulted in a couple of halts. If this thing comes back in as quickly as it went up, it's going to halt the downside for sure.
See if I can get a chart. This thing's up 220%. Wow. Let me actually try refreshing pro and see if that helps. Good morning, Amanda. Happy December.
Hey, Amanda. KSS, this is kind of interesting. If this manages to get above 24.75, we might see some more upside here. 24.91, that's a resistance level from last Wednesday. So it looks like we're trading up into a bit of a resistance area that with enough volume, we could break out of.
Lion here saying the market starts the month slowly. Not much excitement today. I guess people still in Thanksgiving mode. I can totally understand if you're still in Thanksgiving mode. I didn't want the holiday weekend to end. More new highs in MSTZ, by the way. The one thing, Lion, is that we expected inflows here. Mm-hmm. First day of the week, first day of the month. maybe we got them and it's getting sold now. Still having trouble with my 5-minute charts here. Team's on it though. And actually, we're getting a report that a lot of it's coming back. So should be out of the woods here in a sec.
I remember next week we have the FOMC meeting. So that's going to provide some catalyst behavior. This week, I'm not. I'd have to kind of look and see what's coming up this week, because the big thing that I think that the market's waiting for is that rate decision.
Yeah, and that's next week, right? 10 and 11, Wednesday, Thursday next week. I think initially this, what?
9th and 10th.
Not 9 and 10, excuse me, to Tuesday, Wednesday. And I think earlier this week I had mentioned it was the following week, the 16 and 17. Sorry about that. That is, in fact, next week. Yep. You guys want to take a look at levels? I'd love to if I could get the charts to cooperate here. Let's
Which
see if
levels
chart
for
is
what?
Cooperating.
For levels for what?
Disney, he wanted to take a look at. Looks like my chart is working here. Let me bring up Disney and we'll do that right now. Here's your Disney daily chart. There's definitely, I know you're asking, 13 is not bullish on this, neither am I, and you're asking for that. This is making a series of higher lows here. The big thing though, again, I'm not bullish on the future for Disney, at least not at the moment. We did recapture the 500 here today. This also kind of seems bearish. This little bounce back here, I wouldn't be surprised if this tested lower. We had this pretty sizable gap that starts at 100 and fills down here at about 93. I think that gap probably gets tested before it's all said and done here. I would say that it's a higher probability we test the gap down to 93 than we break above the 124 near-term double top.
For me, the big area that it's going to have to get above if we're going to reestablish like a bullish sentiment on this is we need to recapture that 200-day SMA. Is when the price came down and got support from it, that was where it was being held up. And then on the 13th, 12th to 13th of November, we had this big gap down. I'm assuming that was earnings. And we have not recovered from that yet. So until we recover from that drop, I'm still thinking that we go lower. And we have this death cross that's potentially happening maybe this week. It still has to recapture the 20-day SMA, which I get the sense that the price might end up writing down if it can't recapture. There's a lot of bearish looking indicators here. Now, it does appear like the MACD is trying to swing up towards the upside, but if unless we get that crossing, unless it crosses and confirms that we're swinging back up towards the upside, I still think we're going to go lower. I would be looking at 97.50 and 95 as the next support areas to the downside if we lose 100.
Okay, 1629, you're high on MSTZ, by the way. We talked about that being close to, gosh, that was pretty close to around the VWAP there, 15 and a half. This thing up almost a full point now. I think if you took that, you might start looking at taking some trades here. So there you go. There's your breakdown on Disney. Chart looks to be okay, so I think everything's probably all right. Frozen, are you okay? Why don't you try? It looks like I got my intraday 5-minute bars back as well here. You're still having trouble trying to refresh here. See if that fixes it for you. It looks okay on my end.
Tim just mentioned that Apple's quietly trying to break out.
Apple's been trying to trade it, but he's right. Apple's been trying to get above 278 from the opening bell. It traded above it initially, immediately pulled, and since then has been trying to recapture this area.
I don't know if I have an opinion on what's happening with Apple right now. It looks like it's trying to consolidate to push higher, but it's been having declining volume like all week last week, and it still went up. But the volume has been getting less and less and less. Now, maybe that changes this week since we're going to have a full week. But if it can hold 275, then I think it has the potential to go higher and break over 280.
Okay. All right. And then for those of you looking at the MSTR, MSTZ action here. So here you go. Here's tweet one. This came from Michael Saylor, MSTR, and this was from this morning. MSTR announces the formation of a $1.44 billion USD reserve and an increase in its Bitcoin reserve to 650,000 Bitcoin. Peter Schiff gave his opinion. Today is the beginning of the end for MicroStrategy. Saylor was forced to sell stock not to buy Bitcoin, but to buy US dollars merely to fund Mr.'s interest and dividend obligations. The stock is broken, the business model is a fraud, and Saylor is the biggest con man on Wall Street. Again,
I don't know about that.
All of that comes from Peter Schiff. Those aren't my words. Those are his. Here's the source. If you want the tweets, producer already threw it in the chat here. Shots fired, you could say. Now, I don't really care, but I guess I do here today because MSTZ is actually making a pretty good trade here. 1638, your high, 1639, excuse me, your high print there. One more whoosh up. We'll close that out. Dive Deep says, I've been promised a Santa rally. Well, give us some, at least give us December here. Santa rally doesn't come till the end of December.
Yeah, that, but in a couple of weeks, we'll probably see some more Santa rally-ish. Yeah, I know. Peter's really laying into his producer.
I kind of joked earlier today that maybe he had a rough Thanksgiving. Like maybe just the food wasn't good. Maybe he was an Eagles fan. I don't know, but he looks like he's more mad post-Thanksgiving than pre-Thanksgiving. You know what? That's a really good reminder. We're overdue for this. Take that, Jim Cramer. Okay.
Kala still trying to come back up and retest the VWAP. It manages to recapture that. There could be another move up to 150, and if there is a move up to 150, I think that one might have a little bit more strength to break out of it. We're trading up into an ascending triangle now. It used to be symmetrical, but since we had that move out of the gate and up to 150 again, the pattern that I'm getting now is a ascending triangle. So these are bullish. We could see a breakout later on in this regular session. We just need to be testing that 150 area pretty soon, but that's going to be the breakout spot is 150. Okay.
Amanda saying, I don't love MSTR, but an 80 delta out of the money put is worth $5. I think it's worth nibbling at the 120 strike to play for a small bounce.
See, she's getting the price right in the same range that we are.
Yep.
Well, that range, I'm telling you,
those options.
I'm telling you, that range right there, that's going to be, we'll see a bounce in that spot, maybe even a reversal. Looks like RGTZ is just gearing up to maybe go higher. Yeah, I don't, try to do the technicals on RGTZ. I'm more focused on the technicals for RGTI.
Sure.
And this is, RGTI looks like it wants to lose a key level here. Let's see here. So when we last time we were down here under 24, there was so on November 14th we opened underneath 24 and recaptured it. There was only one time where we actually had an intraday massive move through 24 and closed beneath it. The very next day started a recovery. So 24 is a looks to me like it's a pretty important level, and there are other levels beneath it that we certainly can draw on for support resistance, but. Right now, I think 24 is a big level that we have already been trying to defend today. We did go down to 2386, but we still haven't. I think if we close underneath 24, we could see some more downside tomorrow.
Okay. All right. All out MSTZ at 1650 as we print 1653 as the high print. That was a decent trade there on MicroStrategy. I guess I'm just playing off of the Peter Schiff, Michael Saylor back and forth war there. Really good stuff.
Kala is up at the 140 area where there's a large seller.
There he is. Sorry, 13. I still want you to break down Kala, but I have been waiting since 7 o'clock in the morning for Jamie Dimon to show up here today, and he's here now. Let him have it. Let Saylor have it. Let's hear it. What do you got for Kala in the meantime, 13? I'll leave the chart up, and I'll be right back.
Okay, so this one, this is one I was just talking about with the ascending triangle. It's up near 140 right now, where that large seller is. So I think what I'm waiting to see is if we're gonna get that volume to come in to take out that seller at 140. If that happens, then I think our ascending triangle is still in play here, and we're just gonna want to see a breakout of 150. So that's what I'm looking for here with Kala. Just need to see that that seller get taken out. They're chewing away at it at his position right now, but still very, very large. So needs a little bit more time, but it's diminishing. So Mr. Diamond, we would like to know your opinion on what's going on with MSTR. How do you feel about this? Ryan is really interested to know as well. B is bombing, says deep, dive deep. B, huh? I don't think it's necessarily diving, but it seems like it's topping out. If anything, that's what it looks like to me. Get a bit of a neutral candle formation right now in the daily chart. And we still have a whole day left, so it could be a lot of different things by the end of the day. But right now, I see what you're saying. It's looking a little bit weak, Barrick Mining. But if this candle ends up closing like this, it's a neutral candle. It could indicate a continuation or a reversal. It could be either one. We'll have to wait and see what we end up getting. It is a bit extended here on the daily RSI, 74 RSI, a little bit higher than that, but if we are getting a reversal here, there's some support levels to the downside, like at 40 and 38 we can look at, but I don't necessarily think it's bombing. It's just maybe finding a short-term top.
And this is Barrick Mining, right?
Yeah, he said B is
that
bombing.
you're talking about. All right, real quick here. So market starting to give back even more of those gains. S&P futures at the lows here of the day, or near the lows of the day here. S&P has gone deeper into the red now, down 0.65%. Dow's actually leading the way lower. So that is at new day lows. It looks like the NASDAQ and the SPY might be following it here. Jamie Dimon saying MSTR SMST. So that's the one that you're trading. I was trading MSTZ here today, Jamie, but you're right. This one, much higher price. Nice move there. I'm all out that trade, so I have no downside MSTR exposure at the moment, but won't be the last time I go back to that one. That's for sure.
Do you have the ability to look at SPY on a 5-minute chart? Because you'll be able to see that
Sure.
this morning we came down. It looks like we came down to pretty much 678 on the dot before we got support. But the level of that I'm keeping an eye on is a previous all-time high of 678.47. We're almost we almost tested that, and I think if we do get that, we're going to need to see that support kick in, or we're going to get some pretty ugly downside if it doesn't. AHMA halted at 1411, so that took a nasty fall. Yeah, it sure did, and it is still above VWAP, but this is looking like it's getting a little bit weaker here. VWAP is going to be the last support before you start going into some of these other levels from the provided by the candles. There's even a gap intraday from that the last time it was halted.
Yep.
And that's going to take you from about 1268 down to underneath 12 by a few pennies. So
MSTZ finally pulling back here. 1670 was the high. I missed it by 20 cents.
So just that's what it's looking like with AHMA. Still waiting for Kala to see if it can chew through that seller at 140. And what else is looking interesting here?
Izzy had mentioned that Reddit was strong earlier here today. He looks right. The Reddit made a move right out of the open to 222.5. This is now bouncing off of the VWAP. So no trade for me on Reddit. I'm just going through what some of the chat was looking at. Here's NVIDIA. You know what? NVIDIA, not only is it approaching the trend line that we had identified, but NVIDIA noticeably strong against the backdrop of the regular market here. NASDAQ has really come in from its intraday move higher. NVIDIA is at the highs. And I've got this trend line here, 180. That's still the spot to pay attention to here on NVIDIA, 180. We've seen strong call buying on NVIDIA all morning here today too.
So there was some other comments from the Synopsys CEO that might be driving this up further.
What were the comments?
Well, it was just saying that the Synopsys CEO was saying that NVIDIA's $2 billion investment in the company does not contain any commitments to purchase NVIDIA chips. The CEO of NVIDIA, Huang, was saying the investment in Synopsys is a demonstration of commitment to Synopsys for going all in on the NVIDIA platform. So I guess that, I get the sense that NVIDIA is just, short-term invest in this, and it's going to run Synopsys up, and then they're just going to take their gains. I think this is, one of the ways they've been building cash, because it kind of did something similar with some of these other small AI companies. Like, didn't NVIDIA invest in SoundHound briefly? Then they pulled their investment after it ran. That's what I'm getting at. So we'll see what happens after Synopsys goes on a bit of a run. Maybe NVIDIA sells out of that $2 billion investment.
Our Luke is asking, what do you guys think of the Japan bond rate? Is that causing noise in the marketplace? Are you talking about the yen carry trade unwind? Or the yen carry trade dynamic at all? I don't know what the Japan bond rate is off the top of my head.
We're probably talking about the two. Well, I don't know which one bond in particular, but the 2-year yield reached 1% for the first time since the Great Financial Crisis. I think because of all the talk about Japan potentially raising rates, and while we're talking about cutting them, that's going to lead to an acceleration of the yen carry trade unwind, and that could be concerning markets. It's we have our rate decision first, and then Japan has it later on this month. So if nothing's going to change and it's going to happen the way we think, then yes, they're going to raise and we're going to cut. Now, we might hold rates. There's still a chance that might happen, and if that happens, then maybe Japan holds theirs as well. I don't know, but I get the sense that whatever we do, they're going to absolutely take that into consideration and make the decision based on that. So I don't think a rate raise from Japan is guaranteed, despite them talking a lot about it. I think it's really based upon what we do.
Okay, producer linked you to a story that we had on the yen carry trade. And this was for following a Robert Kiyosaki tweet about the 30-year bubble bursting, Japan ending the carry trade.
FTEL about to print some new session highs here. This has been trading up into might be a scallop that we're seeing here, but also could be an ascending triangle. It's looking bullish either way, so let's see if it can break 140.
I can't resolve the FTEL chart. Let's see if that's all charts. Nope, just the one. I love this. Just an FYI, Robert Kiyosaki, who's mentioned in that article there, calls many, if not more, crashes than Michael Burry. Just keep it under your hat. He calls that often.
QTTB lost VWAP, and this is sinking lower here. FTEL about to reach the pre-market high of 143. Looks like
your VWAP test coming here on QTTB. This might be the last line in the sand.
Looks like the seller in Kala that was keeping the price from going beyond 140 isn't there anymore. We'll see if we can get above VWAP now.
Bitcoin more downside, by the way, plunging through the morning lows here today.
Lion's going to start buying lithium mining companies.
Okay. I think 2026 is going to be a year for lithium stocks to take off. What are your favorite lithium stocks?
Been saying that for a while. That's why I was going to say ALB a while ago. So I mean, because it's not going to be just lithium in general. It's going to be batteries and everything that makes you need batteries to make. So graphene, graphite, some other materials like vanadium might be in play as well for stationary batteries that they use in data centers and for other industrial purposes. But I think the battery theme is going to be pretty big next year. And of course, lithium is going to be massive into that. Now, the thing that I've been on with lithium is that we are finally seeing lithium prices rise again. And that's been something that we've been talking about for a couple months now. And we also got news of some lithium mines in China that were, being shut down. That started the rally in some of these, U.S.-based lithium mining stocks. So, I agree. We're going to see lithium do well next year. But this has been something that I've been, kind of talking about for a while. I think lithium's going to. I mean, I think ALB could be $200 at some point in the future soon.
Yeah, I was on ALB for this year. I thought ALB was a good pick this year.
Yeah.
Jay here saying, Lion, you're late. You know, the thing though is that if that's a huge theme, he's not going to be late on some names. He might be late on some of them, but not on all of them. There's going to be more opportunity in that segment if it goes the way he's thinking. QTTB so far has held its VWAP.
FTEL blasted off.
Hope I can resolve the chart here, 13.
I like Lithium Americas. I do like that one. The ones that he's mentioning, those are some great names to be in. But my favorite is going to be ALB.
Yeah, same. ALB is the one I actually feel good holding for the long term. And we actually talked about ALB being a great buy around 100, I believe. The last time it was down there, it's 128 today. It's actually 132 earlier today.
Let me see here, because I've been buying ALB for over a year now.
We talked about this on Happy Hour when it was in the 50s, but that was a while ago. I'm saying more recently than that. We had a more recent call where this thing was a good buy around 100.
Yeah, my cost is $78 in ALB.
Yeah. You're almost a double here.
And then we're getting some good movement here from these mover names. AMA is trying to come back up. It's looking at 15 right now. FTEL, that put in a new session high, burst through the pre-market high. Current high is now 152. Kala looks like that's trying to set up as well. As long as we can hold above VWAP and move up towards the trend line around 150, I think we could see some more upside as well in that one.
And real quickly, look at FLYE. We haven't talked about this one since Kathy mentioned it earlier. This has had 7 halts here today, but this is at the high of the day here at $11. This first got mentioned by Kathy, I think, in here in the 6 handle. It was almost a double. Kathy, if you're still around, that was pretty good mention.
Yeah, those are some pretty good names. I was asking about so phosphate, that's another one. But yeah, so there's what are the other big mind elements in those batteries? So yeah, vanadium. That's going to be an interesting one, but it's only for large industrial purposes. You're not going to see these on vehicles or EVs or anything like that. These are large stationary batteries. And it's interesting. I was having a conversation with my in-laws who work down at the Long Beach San Pedro Harbor, and they are telling me that they are seeing a ton of these large container-sized batteries coming off of ships. And they look like they're going to be exactly the types that we're talking about, where they're used for backup systems for data centers or other energy-intensive infrastructure. But batteries are going to be a big play, I think. I've been saying that for a while.
Yeah. And so is your way of attacking that just the lithium angle, or do you have actually pure battery plays that you're wanting to go after there? I still think Tesla's a decent play in that sector too. Call me crazy.
I mean, if you want, there's a really popular name that makes batteries, Tesla.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You could put that on your watch list. Here's I have a U.S. battery watch list because I think that the critical minerals issue is going to come back because I don't think that's resolved. We had like a 1 year. I think it's 11 months now, but like a 1 year time horizon for that to be resolved, or we're going to be back in the same square again with China. So everything that can be made or mined out of the U.S., I think we're going to want to pay more attention to. And some companies that are international also have operations in the U.S., like Rio Tinto.
Talked about that one recently.
Chris had mentioned last week EOSE was another name that could potentially do well. A lot of these battery names are not looking great at the moment, at least not today, but I've got quite a bit of a list here. And Lithium Americas is on there, Enphase is on there, GrafTech EAF. That's going to be an interesting one, I think, because that is going to be on the anode side of the of batteries. QS, QuantumScape, for solid state batteries. That's That's a trade. I don't know that I necessarily want to hold that one because I still think it loses a lot of cash. Oh yeah, Marcus, you just mentioned QS. AMPX. I don't have AMPX on my list. Is that US based?
Real quickly here, Joe saying that the painful lesson I've learned on this is that if you buy things like LAC, only if you intend to hold real long term. Many rare earth call options of mine got burned or buried. So that's one of the reasons why we're constantly talking about being careful, especially with some of the impulse moves, right? Like even if the theme is good, the impulse move might be overdoing it, and I think that's what's happening to you, Joe. The day that it's hot, the premium in those options are super inflated. You end up getting crushed by them, even if the story works out on a longer time frame than you initially thought about. I think in that case, probably better off buying the stock than flipping options. That would be my guess.
So it does look like Amprius is
that's
California.
AMPX, right?
The one I was just going to mention, yeah. So I haven't looked at this one yet. Maybe this is I'm just going to add this one to my list and I'll take a look at it. But this one looks like it could be involved in a lot of the EV tolls. They do have a lot of that on the front of their page. So guessing that that's what they're alluding to is that they make EVs or make batteries for EV tolls. Thank you for bringing this up. It's interesting. Looks like it's not profitable quite yet, but they're on their way. They do have revenue. So yeah, we'll see if this could be a good one. We'll see. Got some short interest as well.
Were they just like turning around their earnings too, or is this like a common thing here? Yeah, so they've been losing less cash the past several quarters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're still growing and trying to grow their revenue and become profitable, but it could be a good one. I just don't think that the time is right yet for a lot of these battery names, but we're going to definitely want to be starting to look at these and take some positions in them. I on the lithium side, I was already wanting to get into that because I felt it was pretty undervalued, and then so I was adding to that for a while, and now that I have held onto these for some of my shares for over a year, I can unload those into the strength if I feel like it.
Really quickly here, that SPY pullback, this is now getting bought again. So one of the things that we'll know here in the near term is whether or not we've made a higher low here intraday. 682 looks to be that high spot from earlier that we really couldn't get back above. 684 was the one from Friday. Those are your two upside levels to look at. We'll see if we end up making a lower high intraday here.
Yeah, I don't know about QS Lion. Samsung is making solid state batteries, and I think Toyota is too. So I know that this is not some kind of a wishful thinking or a dream technology. But for QS to take as long as they have to develop their type of solid state, it's concerning. And I don't really like the stock structure either. It's very heavy float. So I don't know that QS is going to be a good one. Maybe it will be, but they got to start, producing some better results, I think.
Okay. SPY continuing to bounce here. Actually, it looks like we might try and challenge those highs.
So
I didn't see any news for this.
QS is already in VWs. Like which one? Is it the Touareg EV or like? Let me know which one that's in. I'd be curious to know more about that. Silver ion batteries next generation. Buy more silver. I don't think that's going to happen. That would be an incredibly expensive battery. That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe you might be right, but I don't think that makes a lot of sense at all to have a very expensive material to be used in batteries when you could just you could use iron or zinc. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. That would be I'd be very, very skeptical of silver ion batteries. If anything, they're going to be used for contacts, but I don't know about the silver ion. That just seems very expensive on the surface.
FLYE, Kathy hooked one. I think Kathy's bounced here, but wow, this thing's 1265. Haltfest all day.
Now, I don't disagree that silver is the play. I think that still has a lot of room to catch up to gold, and it can be used in other applications. But I just don't see silver ion batteries. FTEL, another name that's having a good day, up to 160 now. I would also still caution, be careful with that one you were just looking at. What was it?
FLYE. Yeah, I mean, you should be careful with that one completely. It's nothing but a halt fest.
Had a bear cave report. It is a pump and dump scheme. So if you believe that, then you probably should be setting some levels of where you want to take profit.
Yeah, I'm not trading it. I'm just mentioning that thing is ripping to the highs here, but I agree. Be very careful with that. Doesn't have the greatest catalyst in there. No news in a short report. Your KSS continued here. More new highs here today after the big move last week.
Okay. We'll see how that pans out, EKS. I think that's just, it sounds like a very expensive endeavor. Just, 50% charging, half the charging time, twice the range. We'll see. I've heard that before with different materials.
And new poll is up here. It's Packer week. It's Packer week. So who gets the win on Sunday, Bears or Packers? And I love it because there's no way for someone to ride the sidelines and vote both on this one.
And not only that, but we're facing each other in fantasy football this week too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really awesome. In the happy hour one too. That is my team in the happy hour is no good. So, although I did just put the hurt on somebody.
Targeting super premium EVs due to higher. See, and that's the thing. I'm really. It's just making these vehicles more expensive for people that already are having a hard time affording them.
I was going to say that's already a headwind. That's already a problem.
I'm sorry to be on the other side of this, EKS, but it just, I mean, I'm sure you're completely correct about, them making this and all that, but I have some really, really high levels of skepticism that this is actually going to end up panning out. And by that time, they might even come up with some other, they might have another material that they've been testing that works even better. And it's half the cost. I'm just really, really concerned about the cost of this. But okay, Samsung and Toyota want to do it. Go for it.
But this is what makes the market. This is the type of stuff that we cover back and forth here. So all about that. All about that. We're actually almost out of time here. Only 4 minutes to go. And real quick, be sure to join the Trader Bacon show next for host Gates Adams at 11. I'm going to send you right over there. It's going to be coming up right after this. Okay.
Soon. I don't know about soon, but 100. I've been thinking that we're going to see 100 in silver at some point. I don't know about soon. I mean, if we see it next year, then okay. But it's already doubled this year, so it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, Tom, twice in 3 weeks, December 7th and December 20th. Gonna be big. Gonna be big. All right, let's check in on AMD too. That also had a good move earlier. Yeah, that is still holding on to its red to green move. NVIDIA was the real good one on that. The real good performer on that. I don't see any options here for NVIDIA. Let's take a look. NVIDIA up right near the trend line. We'll see if it does that. Take care of yourself, Kev.
Bitcoin is at a buy level. Joe Schmo believes. Let's see.
Futures at 84K on Bitcoin, 84.8.
I'm a little concerned about the recapture of 85. You might be right.
Concern is, and you don't think we get that, right?
Concern is that I think it could still do it, but that it's going to face a lot of resistance in the process. And that resistance may lead to a rejection. It looks like it's going to hit 85, maybe even trade over it. But let's see what happens the rest of the day. Maybe it is reversing here. I'm just not sure that the selling is quite finished yet.
SPY right back to 682. So that moved back down. Boy, you want to talk about choppiness. This is all over the place here today. All right. Lion, take care of yourself. Amanda, take care. Actually, forget it. It's Packer week. I'm not going to say goodbye to Amanda, but Lion, take care of yourself.
Oh, this is going to be a fun week.
It is going to be a fun week. Indeed, it is. Indeed it is. And Netflix actually having a pretty nice day. Amazon bounced off of 232, and Tenzin, who was looking for Apple to move higher, that is still kind of struggling with the 278 handle, although we are above 278 now. All in all, not a terrible day, 13.
No, and KSS managed to give $1 out after dropping out of the open. So it slightly sold off, and then we just have been going up. It looks like it could still even go to 26. Maybe we'll see if it doesn't turn around here and start losing VWAP. But it could, I'd say maybe 26.
Okay. All right, 13, really good stuff here, my man. Good start to the week. We're back from Thanksgiving holiday. Only 3 weeks until the Christmas holiday week.
Oh, yeah.
Comes up here. So I'm really excited for that, too. Any closing words for the group, 13?
Well, we did have a low volume day today, and we could end up having another choppy low volume day tomorrow. So I'm just going to lead with that expectation and hope that we get pleasantly surprised. But folks, until then, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning. And I will see you later. I don't have a whole lot else to add because it seems like there's a lot of sleepiness in the market right now. So until tomorrow, have a great rest of your day and goodbye.
All right. Thank you, 13. Really good stuff. We'll see you on Happy Hour and again tomorrow, folks. I'm going to send you over to the Trader Bacon Show right now. Gates Adams is our host. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Have a great rest of your Monday. Stay green. Stay